regular meeting minutes. Friday, everybody gets a chance to look them over.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Stan to approve, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Discussion, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Special meeting minutes, that was the one about,
Safety tower.
tower deal.
I'll make a motion that we approve that.
Okay, motion made by Boone, second by Brown Miller, any discussion? Discussion, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Time sheets, Ryan, you get
In the middle of the table there.
oh,
Yeah.
Pass them back. Or, I passed them back.
He does back.
He's already looked at it.
anything out of the ordinary down?
Just missing one.
Then let's go to the bills.
Knife River, 39,000, that's for the
That should-
widening the,
That should be the remainder of the Hamburg Slough project area.
It was on there, was Saturday.
is that the clay and stuff they filled in to
That's
improve the
part of
slope?
it. And then they
The
always,
approaches and the
they always
shoulders.
keep out a percentage until the project is complete, so that's in there too.
Oh, okay.
Is that all done now?
It should be all.
It sure
done.
looked like it, I just said I was on there Saturday afternoon.
No, but the bill wise is what.
No, I know, but they asked if it's all done, the approaches, everything was scoped out like it should be.
They were good.
Yeah, it looked good.
But they took care of it.
I mean, the whole project, although terribly expensive, it turned out pretty nice.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, a little messy.
I got a question that just sticks out that kind of got me excited a bit. Elite Spraying, $25,000 for weed control?
That's just a payment to the weed board.
I know,
Pays their
but-
bills.
I know.
But they, well, okay.
And that's no chemical, right?
No, but, because we give them the kind.
I know.
But
So this is
he was
labor
the only,
only.
hey, he was the only one that did any spraying this summer. We used to get a guy from up north, and he ain't doing it anymore. So Elite did it all. What got done as far as the county roads and all that stuff.
And probably other years it was spread on a couple.
It was spread on 2 or 3 people.
I questioned the,
Lael did not do any, they maybe did a little bit this year for a township or two, but then the townships take care of it.
yeah, they don't pay for that either.
No, but the county, I mean, pays for the or state road.
Here's my point, in that a custom sprayer on a field will charge $8 an acre, and let's say this is double. Okay, they charge 15 an acre. That's 2,000 acres. 2,000. You don't have that many county roads. That sounds outlandishly high, in my mind.
But if nobody else will do it, what are you gonna do?
We don't
Well,
have that, I'm saying.
Okay, when we
The bill
have a
seems-
weed board meeting, I will get you on the phone and you explain it to Dale Schmidt how you just explained it to me.
Well,
And he'll have an answer for it.
okay. I mean,
I mean, if you're not satisfied with that.
I'm sure they're doing it by the hours,
but still, $25,000. We're not talking miscellaneous here. That's a lot of money. We only have how many miles of county
FSA
roads?
roads, and you got both sides of the road.
Well, and do they spray
Do they
every
ju-
year?
I don't know if they just spray one width, 16 feet on these, or what. I don't know that.
They were just spraying like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
I think.
I know, but I can see your point there. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
but they go by the hour, I think.
Right, it's not by the acre.
Right,
It's by
you're
the
comparing
hour.
it to the acre to the hour. I mean,
Right, because
and
it's
by the
small
hour.
areas. I get all that. That just seems high. I know I'm not going to go on the agenda. That's why you're on that board. You can get all the answers.
No, I think you should go buy a sprayer and get the 25,000.
I think we should buy a drone.
Who's gonna run that? No, I ain't running no drone.
Your granddaughter could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know she could.
We hire a
I don't
kid
know
to do that.
if
Well,
she-
anyway, not that, but that just seemed like a lot.
So Elite Spring, is that?
It is a lot.
Martinson.
Yeah, Martinson.
From Harvey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
You know
seen
what?
that too, and I,
Well, Peter brought that up, it's kind of strange because, like, the lawn
not saying it's too high for what they did. I think it's too high for what Wells County has as far as county roads.
County roads or township roads?
This is county.
Township
Township pays their own.
Township pays their own, Brian. This is for,
Yeah, I realize that, okay, so now.
but okay, now,
how
just
many-
wait a minute.
How many county miles do we have?
Just
Yeah.
wait a minute though. They might have did some state roads and we get reimbursed for part of that. So then it ain't gonna be quite as high, cause state's gonna reimburse us. Donna knows that, and I don't think we got paid for that yet. But we might get reimbursed 10 or 12,000.
I'm starting to
So
be
then
better,
it
starting
looks-
to be better now.
Yeah, it's only gonna be half that much. But I mean, so whatever.
Not whatever. No, it's a bad answer. It's got, I want specifics, but anyway,
So
all
the
right.
state pays, where's that money come back into? Here,
No, into the weed board.
but we're paying for it up front.
Some of that, right, Dan?
We take care of their, we pay all their bills.
Okay.
County, Dan.
But we don't get any of their income.
No, I mean, but
The state gives them.
that's why you'll see that stuff categorically under
Right.
the weed
Yeah.
board there.
Right.
All right.
You're gonna get all down around all excited. Tell her it was
You
Stan.
have a $25,000 bill, shouldn't you question it?
Well, exactly, I'll bring it up.
No, it's worth talking
I'm
about.
representing the people of Wells County and they wanna know where that money went.
Right.
Anybody got anything else on bills?
Highway tax, or Butler Machinery paid them 26,000.
That was my next question. That seemed high when we got warranty on everything.
I don't think that,
Positive, that's almost exclusively cutting edges.
Okay. That
And they fixed the chip spreader too.
But cutting edges, they buy those once a year or something, that's the shit. Yep, they get a bunch. Yeah, that- I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Okay, very good. So
I can
moved,
talk out of
or
it.
I'll second
Talk
that.
out of it.
Motion
Not
is
that
down,
move on.
second by Boone. They're done arguing, so we can move on.
We weren't really arguing.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carried. Bills are taken care of.
All right, balance
sheet, yeah.
balance sheet is up next there, just, looking through a handful of things there. You'll see the, House Bill 1066, which is 7 or 8 or 9 down. You know, and after payments which have just gone out, it's basically gonna be half of what it was. It'll be under 900,000, it'll be 8 something. Or, it's already under, it'll be under 700,000, excuse me, because the warrants are gonna go over $1 million there. So, just so you're aware of that, that money is being drawn down. Most of that is the Hamburg Slough project, but it's a handful of other things road department wise. As far as 911, the road fund and the county agency fund, those are being treated great and good numbers at this particular point in time. That is gonna have to be part of a different discussion as we go forward with long-term planning and so on. We've gotta develop a genuine response to that. How are we going to handle that on a, more frequent than annual basis? County agency is never gonna have enough dollars locally here to run that office. And 911, same thing. Road department is getting better, but obviously that's being assisted by being propped up by House Bill 1066 and townships paying some dollars and so on and so forth. So it's just not a long-term solution to look the other way and pretend it's not an issue because it is one. Everything in the bottom half of that sheet that you see a balance for, that's all gone now. We made payments out to all the critical subs here 1st of November. You don't see them on anything yet, you will see them a month from now in terms of bills and so on and so forth, but all of those things have been zeroed out. That includes the $151,000 to townships, the $54,000 to schools, $62,000 to the school district, and so on. Next payment we'll have is in the month of February, and that in and of itself, February, March, July, and November is the 4 months that we pay. That's gonna make things a little bit trickier, and I'll come back to that. when we get a little further down on the agenda, because primary residence credit for the good that it's going to do is gonna create some hardships if, and I'm just gonna use this as an example, if the city of Huntsville runs on a shoestring budget, they're gonna have to wait until the middle of the summer to get the majority of their money based on when tax dollars come in. And the primary residence credit, which is gonna pay 40 to 50% of the people's property taxes this year. So something, even though it's good, has unintended consequences, and that is going to be one of them. So I don't think it will have a big impact on the county. However, you're gonna have a couple ladies here talking about some issues that they have, and that's gonna really make things more challenging for them than they originally even thought was going to be, in terms of when their revenue is going to arrive. So anyway, just looking at the balance sheet, I should tell you as well, we are, doing exactly what we intended to do with the money market. We're drawing that down. If you go to the next page there, which is the CD page, this, of course, was run on the 1st of November. Yesterday, we withdrew $408,781.95 from the money market, so that only has $2.7 million in it now. And of course, that was to not only do payroll, but to make those payments to those political subs, as well as to pay the bills that you just approved moments ago. So, do you have any questions for me on either of those two sheets to begin with? Okay, if not, obviously you've got a third page there, one I always throw in there, funds controlled by the commission. This changed obviously with that 408,000 and change withdrawal from the money market. Realistically, instead of a negative 1.987, it's realistically $1.5 million over invested, but that's why we got that money market in the first place. It's to get an interest-bearing account for money that was just sitting in a bank doing nothing. But nevertheless, that's also got your current road department's deficit when you factor in their three different accounts there, negative 669. That was a whole lot closer to $1 million about a year ago at this time. So
kind of interesting. Some of you were at the one workshop where they had a panel on how to enhance revenue and how to keep your mills under three, or increase under three. And the guy from Valley City said, well, one way of enhancing revenue, all of you guys have extra money, you should be getting at least 3.5% on it. I thought, oh yeah, we've done that. That's a big deal. Well, it's a couple $100,000 at the end of the year.
all right, so if you don't have any other questions or comments, I'll need you to approve the balance sheet.
Motion to approve.
Brad Miller, motion to approve the balance sheet, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, Boone. Any discussion on balance sheet or on motion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried.
I'll make a motion that we give authorization to Dan for the CD and money market active.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Don Lowe. Any discussion? Discussion, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
All right, the only correspondence that I have is the letter that is in your packet, and there is a book that is right underneath the timesheets there in the middle of that center table. That's about NACO's 90th anniversary. So you can thumb through that at your leisure. But, obviously, we don't feel the national organization the same way that we do the state organization, but our state organization just had its 50th anniversary. So, but that's all I have in the way of correspondence.
National, we talked about people that dropped it, it's pretty good conference. If any of you guys have interest.
And Perry used to go to them, didn't he?
Well, he was an officer.
Yeah, he always come to our 6-town meetings back there, right?
He got booted out now.
He's all done. Barry Turner?
old wrestling book and actually wish it.
It is.
Is that what it was?
No need for yours. Okay, we got, that's it on correspondence, Dan?
Yep, you can get them before you pull it.
Okay. Ryan, you have any portfolio?
I talked to Chris, the sheriff, bike has been moved from Louts. The container is ordered, he wasn't sure if it showed up yet, so Brent should know that, I guess he was the one that kind of lined that up. And then, of course, Risco Quick, we all know that. And from what it sounds like, the Stone Garden money is all used up then, right? So, Ward is working part-time just for the county. I guess he's gonna help out for a while, for what it sounds like, so see how that goes.
He's not allowed getting hours the last 2 months, so I would really know.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen there, but, and then, I guess, gonna look for another deputy and see what happens. Hopefully, the new guy sticks around a while.
I got a question. Do they have more Stone Garden money than when we go into 26?
That was my question.
For 25.
What's the future of the program? Done?
We got to finish the year that we're in, all the other subsequent years were taken away from us. That happened quite a while back.
Yeah, they have so much money to use and it's gone.
Yeah. It's still available in northern counties, right?
Correct.
I think it went to Benson. I really do.
Well, we were on the edge of the line. There was
Right.
primary, secondary, tertiary counties. And
Right.
We're lucky we have what we did. 'Cause
Yeah, I
it's
could
like
never
that,
quite understand how and why we got money
Right.
for that to start with.
So what happens to the vehicle then? Does it go to a different county?
No, we
We
get
keep
it.
it?
To keep that, they came and took things like the license plate readers and things like that out of that vehicles that we did have, but as far as that would be kind of it.
So, who funded the license plate readers? I thought we had something to do with that.
That was done this one,
That was.
That was Stone Garden.
Okay.
Otherwise, yeah, that's it, I guess, on my end.
Okay. Yeah,
Jan's back at work. Maternity leave is over. She actually was down at the convention one day and wanted to get geared up more, so went to a couple workshops based on the zoning ordinance, battery storage facility, that type of thing. So, everything's okay there.
good.
I don't have, I figured no news is good news with the area, but there's this petition thing going around for from a elected position to a appointed position.
No, the positions from appointed
Yeah,
back to
yeah.
the election.
Right.
Right.
But I don't, I was in Harvey and had dinner the other day, and he says, I don't know if I'm gonna get all them signatures, that Brian, that come and seen Dan about it.
All right.
And I haven't said nothing to anybody, I don't know.
That was a good time to talk about those, but you know, I think everybody here would just soon have an election before we have people running for it.
Oh, yeah,
Our
perfect
deal-
world.
When you only get one person, they're gonna elect that person.
And you've gotta have years and qualified people in this. Not
Right.
saying that there wouldn't be one that was running.
I said it at the last meeting, if this was Burley or Cass or Ward County, I would never, ever be for this as an appointed, because they get lots of qualified people who run for the election.
Yes.
And that's the
Doesn't
best
happen
way,
here.
that's the best way to settle it then.
Right.
I don't think most people realize that there's still a process to select.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, they don't trust that process.
Right, but they don't even think that exists in a lot of situations. They'll talk to somebody, well, you guys are just gonna appoint who you want to, no, we're gonna go through the process.
Right.
Correct, yeah.
And it's our job to try to find the best one that's best suited.
All right.
You know, I think one of the other positions we did that, we included some community people on.
When we when we hired food, there was community
Right.
people, because we had 12 applicants, then it was a 3-step process, you know,
That was
now
when we
we
did that up in the courtroom.
oh, that was a big process.
Dougie Huff was there, that's
There were some
public,
community people
Yes.
involved, so,
doing that questionnaire deal.
oh, yeah, that
Yeah.
took a
And
while.
if this got to the point where you appointed again, I would highly recommend you do the same thing with
However, if they get petitions and it goes on the ballot,
that. That's fine.
ultimately the
Well,
people,
it can get changed then.
the people,
It can
they're
get
the boss,
changed. Yep.
whatever they want.
Does that have to go through the election process or just the petition process?
No, the petition is to get it on the ballot.
Right.
The part that scares me is if somebody unqualified or whatever wins a popularity contest, they don't have to show up to work.
And you're stuck with them for 4 years.
I brought that up
Think,
last
ain't it?
time too, yep.
Unless you go through the government in terms of recall.
Right.
No, not at all. So I don't know, anything else? Moving on?
No.
Okay, I really don't have anything except Brent's coming in, let's see, we got some stuff going on. There's some potholes, he'll go over this, but down by the blinking light, they're going down the patch those. Other than that, they've been getting a lot of blading done lately, which is good because there's moisture in the roads now.
Gravel roads have never been in such good shape, I don't think.
One thing, I'm bringing this up now, Boone mentioned to me the other day, there's ditches that haven't been mowed yet around the county. But, even the state department is first getting that now, because it's been
That
so
was
nice.
yesterday.
Yeah,
I went to Minot, they're mowing road ditches from Harvey toward Minot.
The second pass though.
Yeah.
The
but
first pass
still.
they did a month ago already.
Yeah,
And
but
it's way
still.
down there in the ditch.
but that's why they wait so long, because
Well,
it's
it's
been
dry
going.
now,
Right.
and it's drier and it mows better.
Yeah,
Well, it's a deal, we have a process there, don't you contact them and, I would say by the 15th of November.
It better be done.
Then,
our deadline is October 15th, right?
I know, you always give them a little grace period,
Yeah,
now it's getting to
yeah.
the point where if they don't mow them, you just send us out and we charge them.
Here's the
Right.
problem, though, last year at this time, I had one of those splashback pictures,
Yeah.
around cattle, we had storms around there.
Oh, I know.
Can happen anytime.
Yeah.
So just so you're aware, the townships can have a process for this.
Yep.
And they have to reach out to me, but that deadline is tomorrow.
Okay.
And I can't put anything on people's taxes after tomorrow, but I can up to tomorrow.
Oh,
Only-
really?
Only one township has reached out to me with anything. So,
Why not afterwards?
Township.
because it's just too late. There has to be a deadline at some point, and it's November 5th, and it's on the information that I give them at the annual township officers meeting.
I didn't realize that.
What
Yeah.
township?
Well, is this a widespread
South-
problem,
South
or is it
Central.
4 miles?
My suspicion is that I'll have a handful of people reach out to me, but I'm not, I'll just tell them it's too late. You guys have to pay attention to the road signs that I keep putting.
They
in
could,
front of you.
they could put it on next year though, right?
I suppose you could, but I'm not, that's not exactly a solution to a problem that exists right now.
No, it's not, but I'm saying,
It's a township problem, but, our county one deal with them, right? I
well,
think-
Brent would know.
Well, I'm pretty sure they are.
But, it's a township, but if they can't charge, what recourse do they have? Probably go up and mow.
And there's some wildlife ones maybe that aren't mowed too. Because it was so wet when they come passing through the mall.
Some townships put up a very stiff fine on their own accord.
Well, let's run that by Brent.
I'm sure it's the same people most of the time.
Most of the
time
Doing
it is.
anything else.
Exactly. Okay,
And we put that ad in the
Paper?
Falls County paper, we put it in the Carrington paper, we put it in the Proctor paper, we put it in the Mount paper.
Yeah. It's in there, I've seen it.
yeah. People don't read. Brian, is that it?
I see yesterday the Fair Board was working on electrical. They put a bunch of new posting out there. Otterfield did all that.
guess one thing probably should mention that, in fact, we got a call during the conference call with the horse farm. that
Yeah,
was carried
yeah,
on
yeah.
that. And,
Along.
After the week of the 11th is Veterans Day, the following week is when they're going to tear it down.
Along the line of replacing the posts at the fairground, I think he must have called me because he knew my number. Dave Bowler called. They did tests on those posts under the ground, and
Yeah.
some of them were ready. The only thing holding them up was the 6 wires that went in 6 different directions.
Yep.
In some of them. So
Right.
they needed a local electrician to do some of the minor work. They can do it all, but to actually hook it up.
Yeah.
So anyway, I reached out to Dan. I'm assuming you called,
Yeah, I got ahold of Old Weigels and gave him Dave Bowler's number.
and Dave Bowler, as nervous as he is, called me yesterday morning. Where are you working? He says, you got a local? I said, yeah, Bo Weigel. Okay, I'll call him. So
Ooh.
I should keep talking.
He's that nervous of a guy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Everything's 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So he works for Otter Tail or Northern Plains?
No.
Okay, he's in Harvard.
Yeah, he did hurt.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
I've dealt with him too here around town.
He's good.
I mean, there's been a place or two he didn't know the people. I went and talked to the people and told him go over there and talk to them. And then it was pretty good after that.
Sure.
And just FYI here, I don't know how I didn't correct this, but that first guest isn't coming until 8:45. So
What's that, Dan?
our first guest is not coming until 8:45. I am sorry. It says 8:30 on your agenda, it's 8:45. So we do have a few extra minutes.
So you can do the rest of that stuff.
So we're done discussing what we were
Yes.
discussing?
That being said, I guess in your packet, the next thing that comes up, and if you were at a meeting with the state DOT, you might have this information in the back of your mind, but it's our federal aid program sheet. I'll just touch on that.
Which one is it?
It looks like
This
this.
thing?
Hopefully it's in the order in your package of where we are. But just FYI, it shows, 2026, we're $333,277 in the negative. You anticipate your 26 allotment at $262,000, so by the end, in other words, about 14 and a half months, or 14 months from now, when you get through 2026, it would be minus 71,132. So presumably in 2027 is when we'll resurface and get our nose above sea level and actually have dollars again. It won't be substantial dollars. It will be, give or take, all things remaining the same. It'll be about 200,000, not quite, but about 200,000 in 2027. So at least you'll have something to
Is that dollar amount been going down? Doc, you remember way back, wasn't it more than that?
I
Yeah, they
thought so
paid to
too.
meet with these guys. I mean, still $250,000, but federal help, if you wanna call it that, hasn't kept up with inflation.
Certainly not, and I wouldn't expect it to increase, certainly.
No,
So, not in the next 3 years,
no.
No.
So anyway, now that took a long time to come out of the hole.
Yeah, that goes back to your Bremen project, which was right when I was coming on board.
That's a long time ago.
But you can borrow ahead.
But not while you're negative.
Good.
This gotta be paid up for.
I don't think they'll allow you to until you get into a positive.
Oh, then you can,
So how far or how much can you borrow?
oh, 4 years?
4 years, I believe.
You could get $1 million.
And the whole thinking there is not
And it's
everybody
interest
has
free.
projects, but they have to spend that money or otherwise it goes back. So they let everybody else use it. So if if you don't have anything else, I see Amy just walked in, so we could go on to that if you so choose.
Amy, you wanna come on up?
Sure.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you doing?
Good. You still talking after you flip over?
Dennis, do you want a hug? I'm joking. If you watch it though, there were some bad reps. For those of you who don't know, my nephew and his grandson played head-to-head football in the first round of the playoffs for the division, and my nephew's team lost. That's another day.
No, I'm not really.
I'm joking.
It was a good game. Good about either way.
Yeah. They probably still would have lost, but there was some interesting calls. So I had a conversation with Dan the other day, and after I filled out my travel reimbursement form for my DSO training that I was just at. And I put the $1,200 on there. Thank you guys very much for that. I appreciate it. And he asked me what that was and why it was on there. I guess that the payment had been distributed through the year. And to me, that's a pay increase. And I didn't ask for a pay increase. I asked for a reimbursement for the week of training twice a year, which was agreed upon, and then it was divided into all my paychecks. And the reason I didn't notice is because around the same time it was added to it, I had increased my withholdings. And so it was kind of a wash in the money part, so I didn't notice that it had happened until we spoke about it. I don't know what to say. So, when that, why was it switched? Does anyone know why that was done?
That's just how I would typically do stuff like that because of the tax implications of it.
So I don't think that,
Well, I think, you know, everything's computerized nowadays, and it's just easier to do it that way.
then right.
Why do you, yeah, because you have,
Because it's a reimbursement, it's not a pay increase. I lose money that week.
right, no, I get,
Okay.
like, doing it.
Sure.
Why is it an advantage to you to want a lump sum check versus doing it this way?
Because of the money I lost doing the job that week. It's a reimbursement
For that week.
for that week,
Right.
not a pay increase for the year.
I understand, it isn't money. At the end of the year, you get extra.
Sure, so why does it matter? Why can't I have the lump then?
Because in the course of doing the lump sum payments,
Mhm.
that would not be done by me. That
Mhm.
would be done by my deputy, and no taxes would come out. And here's somebody who has just been
Why
my
wouldn't there be
ear,
taxes coming out of it?
because she doesn't know a way to do that. That can only be done through payroll.
So it's not,
So you would end up with a tax bill that you had come in earlier and said, I want more withholding, so I don't get a tax bill.
well, that's for the other thing, sure.
And you're right, I mean, you have more being withheld, and it's unnoticeable because this goes back into your paycheck. But if Renee would have wrote you that check, there would have been no taxes taken out of it. And we have no mechanism to do that.
So there isn't taxes taken out of my reimbursement.
If, the only thing,
There is now, the way you're setting it up.
the way it's set up now is, you're still gonna get a check after today, and it's gonna be for your meal money and your
Yes.
travel.
Yeah.
But this is construed as income. And as a result of that, I just think this is a cleaner and better way to do things. Otherwise, you're gonna end up with a W-2, and you're gonna end up, well, you're gonna get a W-2 either way, but you would end up owing money on that $1,200. Presumably,
Twice a year though, right?
no, I mean,
For a W-2, once a year.
so this is what I would do with any circumstance like this, so. Because one way or another, you're gonna pay those taxes. The
Well, I'm not
government's
trying to
gonna
pay
let you.
any taxes, that's why I had to increase the withholdings on my, because I don't pay taxes on my massage job until I file at the end of the year.
See, and that's what you would have to do on this $1,200
I already did.
had you given you a lump sum check.
Okay.
You would have it.
And next year they approved $2,400, and there's no reason for me to think that wouldn't be handled the exact same way.
Okay. I understand why you did it the way you did it. It's still to me a pay increase, not a reimbursement. And that's fine. I would like you guys to find someone else to do the job. I have someone scheduled to meet with on Monday, and I'll continue doing that, and I still have open things I'm dealing with people, and I in no way want to drop that, leave it hanging, but I'd like you guys to, put it, start looking for someone to replace me.
It's not because of this, is it?
Not entirely, no, not really. I would like you to find someone else to do it.
In your working with that, do you know any colleagues that are available for a job like that?
No, I haven't really asked around. There might be a few, I don't know. I haven't told anybody about this. This is the first I'm bringing this up, really. So now that it's going to be in the open, I can, put some feelers out.
Yeah, please do.
I've heard this before, not from you, from other people. There's some frustration involved with this
Oh my
job.
goodness, the money does not warrant what I have to put up with. Yes,
So that's why I asked the question.
yes,
So you can vent a bit if you want.
not with him writing. Or them recording.
Okay, enough said,
I
we get it.
It's just, some of the veterans blame me or, they think I'm a VA representative, and I'm not. I work for the county. I'm trained by the state. I am in no way employed by the VA, and I've had people yelling at me because they don't like something that happened, and I get it. We all get frustrated with the VA, believe me, I know that. But I don't need to put up with that. Take it off.
So, I can see that. Someone, would you be willing to give them some pointers?
Well, they're gonna, until they can get in with Brian, Waters in, training, yeah.
Okay,
I'm not dropping it, my computer is in the car. If you want me to quit today, I will.
No.
It wasn't my
My
intention.
next question is, how long could we have to look for somebody?
How long can we
Until you
leave you?
find somebody.
Okay, that's good to know.
Well, I mean.
This could take 2 years.
I
I
don't
knew
think
that
so.
was coming back.
Or longer.
Yeah. No, but thanks for being upfront about
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
We'll put feelers out, I guess. And if you know of somebody, please contact us. Or you run into somebody that would be interested.
I don't know, there's a, I don't know what Steve would really, he might be good at that. I don't know if he want it, I don't know if anyone would want it.
You're talking Joe.
Yeah,
Is that a requirement to be ex-military?
no, not at
No,
all.
but it helps.
It helps.
Well,
He'd be good at it.
money, I've never.
I talked to him quite a bit.
It'll be way easier to talk knowledgeably about something that you understand.
So, well then, that is true. When I go to these training events, there are plenty of non-veteran VSOs.
Okay.
So it is not a requirement at all. It's all stuff that can be learned, and someone with some decent camaraderie,
Camaraderie.
skills can do the job. You just have to be able to talk to people and listen, actually.
Have you come to realize one thing? People are comfortable with you in your position, and that's why they're willing to communicate good or bad with you, because they feel that they trust you.
I know.
That's what I see.
Oh, bother.
Well,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, so, I'm not leaving under any anger or anything like that. I just, it's time to be done. And-
Understand.
We understand.
Okay, are we good?
Yep, we're real.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know that you guys wanna decide whether you leave that 2,400 a year or not. That was specifically for me. I don't know if someone retired, if that's necessarily something that would be, or, you know, someone who doesn't have a job, if they have to take time off.
I don't know, a new hire would be starting over, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's a second line in the budget. It's not attached directly to the salary, but it's in that department because it's taxable income. It's immediately below it. So, which is up in the 100 line, which is pay.
Cross that bridge when we get there.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And it's gonna be about 15 to 17 minutes before people in the group are here, so if there's something else you want.
We could
Yeah,
probably
do
go
some of
over,
that other stuff.
we could probably go over the conference, if anybody wants to share some of the workshops they went to. I got a couple here that I thought were pretty interesting.
Dan, you need to explain to me, this being a real simplistic question, you can only increase the budget based on the House bill, 3% a year, correct?
You can only request your ask of your taxpayers 3%.
Right. You said it, at the conference they said it, the only way to get out of that, why you can ask the voters for more, and that's that one, is grow the tax base, right?
Yeah.
Explain that to me. How, you can grow the tax base if you can only increase the budget 3%.
Yeah, but what you will get over the course of time, if you can grow your tax base, is a declining mill rate. So you're affected by two things. If your levies are at their maximum amount allowable,
Well, we're not.
you can't 3% anything.
Right.
You can't have more than 60 mills in your general fund. You can't have more than, you know, in our case, 14 mills in the road department. Okay, that's it.
I know.
Whatever that generates. Now, if you have some growth here, and that growth, let's say, is 4%, you can have it at 3% of that. Okay, but if there's no growth, okay, if
So if
you're
you're-
maxed out, you can't ask
So
for
it's
any
3% of your taxable base, not 3% of last year's budget. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, well, it's 3% of last year's taxable base, assuming you're not maxed out.
No,
on your
but
levies.
we're not. Let's
No,
talk
we're not.
about Wells County.
We are in some places.
Well, right, I get
Okay,
it.
so, for example, and, you know, I don't wanna get way ahead here, but if you look at, well, they haven't given them to you yet, I have them, but I look at Wells County District Health. So a couple of years ago, they were getting $210,000 through taxes. They dropped that 50 grand to 160.
Yep.
Because they did have federal grants, they could make do without it. Now, unfortunately, that becomes their ceiling, and they become part of everything else that we have, so 3% affects them too. So if they take 3% next year of $160,000, which is gonna be what, $4,500,
Not
let's say.
very much.
Okay? That is dictated by the rest of the county's needs because they're part of the 3%. You know, you could say, yeah, you guys are entitled to your 3%, we're not gonna do anything with it, but what if the county has other needs? That is part of the 3%. The only thing in our case that's not part of the 3% is the water board and the emergency fund. Those could be raised to whatever their maximum level allowed is, and the emergency fund could go up quite a bit. All right, it's nowhere near its cap. Water board, it's a little better than halfway to theirs. So they can raise theirs without any discretion up to their max. I don't know, I still don't know if I'm answering the exact question you're asking, but yeah, this was always designed for Fargo, West Fargo, Bismarck, Williston,
That's-
et cetera.
that's the
It ain't
point.
gonna help us. The only thing that's gonna exponentially increase values here in Wells County is if ag land goes up. Ag goes up a little bit here and there, but it might go 3-4 years without doing anything. In which case, that will keep putting upward pressure on us to, once we get to that 60 mils, there's no place
So
else to go.
I get that part. So it's a little deceiving that everybody's budget in the state can only go up 3%. Right?
Well, if you don't have any growth, yeah, that's what you're gonna be capped at. And even in places that have growth, they're gonna have ceilings. They can't jump as high as the growth might go up. If West Fargo keeps growing like this, that ain't gonna help them. It's gonna help them over the course of time.
Oh, sure, I get that part.
And the gentleman that was speaking from Richland County, which would be right south of Fargo, yeah, they're seeing growth because people wanna get out of the metro area, but they still need to have access to their job in Fargo or West Fargo, so they're looking to build a home 30 miles away.
Doing it through housing.
So absolutely, so that will be a benefit, and every taxpayer will win because of a expanding tax base. Okay, so when they ask for more, it isn't coming from everybody, it's coming from mostly those new properties.
Right.
So,
So
it's,
this ag land that's been selling for some ridiculously high prices, does that change the value of everybody else's land?
Nope.
No, that's the only thing that doesn't work that way.
no, and
Housing.
Don't even get me started on that.
Well, it doesn't
NDSU
make any
has,
sense.
NDSU has a productivity factor that they tell the state every
Okay,
year.
I got you.
And ag land valuations are probably 30% of what they should be, based on auction sale value.
Right. That isn't the real world, what is?
Well, and
I
who
mean-
did I talk about, was it a congressman or somebody, I says, did you ever think about changing that? That was the wrong question to ask, because that was like the holy grail of, you just don't deal with that,
There's
which,
things they don't wanna touch. Yes.
that's one.
One of them's overweight trucks is the other one.
what did you say?
Overweight truck.
Okay, so they brought it up. I know Dennis, I know you were in there because I saw you in there. They brought up, should we get rid of the farm residence exemption and take ag land from 10% to 9%, and they felt it would be a wash. But why wouldn't folks want to do that? Because there's no guarantee the state can prop up property taxes forever. That's why. And once you take the rule away, it's gone. And I'm sure they would prefer that protection.
And the other thing, Brian, is some of these farms have $1 million house on them, they're not being taxed.
Oh, I know. Well, we approved nine farmsteads here a couple years ago. It's,
So it's,
when you look at it that way, that's kind of an unfair situation.
well, yeah, there's a lot of them.
But the way the law reads, is what it is.
Well, and not only that, we whined about this about 4 years ago, and, well, maybe it's been more than that, and then Burgum presented something that made it easier yet to be farm exempt. Remember, if you had enough off-farm income, $40,000 off-farm
Yeah.
income, you weren't exempt. So there was a number of people here, if their wife taught in school, their farmstead wasn't exempt. Burgum got rid of all that, so now it's easier
Right.
to make it exempt, where you thought.
However, they did mention most farmers live in town anyway.
In some places. Yeah.
Anyway, I see our health group is here, why don't you guys come on up? Yeah.
And I updated these forms for you, so please update.
Got the whole team.
Yeah, moral support.
There you go, that's okay.
All the support, right? I sent out to Dan and to some of our board members earlier, but I updated some of the info.
Just to make sure and for the benefit maybe of the newspaper and so on, just introduce
Yeah.
yourself.
Yep. So I'm Caitlin Remick. I'm the Welcome to District Health Unit Administrator there. I'm a nurse by trade. And then I brought along Berla Albrecht. She is our financial officer or office manager. Brittany is part of our board. She was a former administrator at our office. And then Brenda is our billing specialist from our office as well. So I'm just gonna,
Welcome.
yeah, thank you. And then we have board members too on this. So just gonna give our little roles of kind of what we do within our office. So as a nurse administrator, I'm responsible for the overall operation of all the programs and activities within the office. I represent the health district at the local, regional, and state levels, and just oversee the supervision of all the employees. Because I'm a nurse and we only have 2 nurses on staff, I also take patients. I see in-home, in-office. I do all the nursing activities as well. So trying to get all that done within 4 days and 8 hours a day. We only have 2 nurses, myself and Larissa. And then Larissa is our other nurse, and she does all the health nursing duties to individuals, families, and groups in our community. The duties she performs are within the homes, the school, work, or community. We do a lot of school nursing and have established that relationship really well. These past few years, we do a lot of things ranging from newborns all the way up to 100, however old they get. So immunizations is one of our biggest things that we do. And we provide immunizations from newborn again to the elderly. We also primarily focus on prevention education and then assisting residents in obtaining and maintaining optimal health. So that's another thing that Larissa does. She also orders all of our immunizations. We have to house both in Pheasant and in Harvey our immunizations. We can't just house in one because we carry the DFC program, which is a vaccine for children's program for Medicaid or any uninsured or underinsured individuals. That's what we house in our office. We're the only ones in the county that house that. And as for vaccinations, majority we house all the vaccinations, whereas the clinics probably have like the tetanus, Prevnar, flus, pneumonia, it's just the basic ones where we house all of them. Our prevention coordinator is Jordan Beckley. She's responsible for assessing, designing, and coordinating substance abuse prevention programs to meet the informational and service needs of community groups, schools, and businesses. So you can see her, she's doing all of our Facebook messaging, our website. She's within the school's teaching curriculum, doing an in-kind job there, and providing that prevention curriculum, and then just a great resource within our community, providing that prevention work. And then Berla is our financial office manager. She's responsible for all the accounting and financial records required to support and operating our office. And then Brenda is our billing specialist, responsible for performing and maintaining all third-party payers and private self-pay billing. They also do a lot of our clerical work of answering the phones, doing our, getting our, check-ins, all of that, getting our patients ready for the rest too. Since 2020, we are down 3. So we used to house 8 staff, and we are down to 5 now currently. You'll see here on the first page, this is our monthly operation. We just did our payroll here yesterday actually, so that is not an account, but this would be our payroll until the end of December, and then our other expenses. So a total for the next 2 months would that be that number on the bottom of what we would be looking for to pay to operate our office. If you go to the next page, that is our income. I'll just kind of go through what we have. These are the grants that we currently have that will carry through either end of June of next year or end of September. So usually they start back over again if we get them. The immunization program was reduced significantly, 600, but very minimal That's basically to run our immunization program. That maybe covers a half a month for us, and that's what we get every year for the immunization program. That we cannot pay for vaccine, we cannot, that's just strictly like providing education, going into the schools, and that's what we get from the state. The maternal child health grant, that just started here in October, we can get up to that amount, but our in-kind match, we have to provide an in-kind match. Last year, it was about half of that. We did meet that. However, the goals of that grant have changed, and that kind of provides a little different area for us, as I don't know if we will get that goal. We applied for that goal, but not necessarily per se we'll get that full amount. And again, we have to provide an in-kind match of that. That tobacco grant, that will end here in June of 30 next year. That is what we have as of today. That primarily pays for Jordan's role, where she's doing about 20 hours per week on that. We each do acquire some hours, but in the past we haven't fully got all of that, as we weren't as diligent with that grant, but this time we have been more diligent of getting those hours and spending those dollars as we can. So I see that one being moved up by the end of June. That big grant is for staff retention, so we'll have that till the end of 2026, and just keeping employees. The Dept grant is an emergency preparedness response grant. We get that every year. That is for me. I have to take call every quarter. Regional, I'm on call every weekend, so there's a regional line where if someone in Jamestown, it has a public health emergency, I get that phone call, I find the appropriate person to call. So that is for my time there, and we have quarterly meetings that I have to attend, so that's staffing my time there. The opioid funds county allocation, that is an agreement that we did with you guys. You guys received those funds, and then that brought it to us, so we get those funds. That is what we have as of today. That is where Jordan is going in and teaching prevention curriculum within the schools. We teach in Harvey, and now we just got into resident schools. So another thing that we housed was Megan Efren coming with that grant. She is a counselor, behavioral health counselor that would come to Harvey and President once a week. She, however, is no longer coming, so that was just housing her travel time. So this all will just be allocated to Jordan going into the school system. The CCC funds is our Community Cares Coalition Fund. That is not ours. We are housing it. That was originally with the hospital, but they asked us to house it since we were part of that coalition. They were having trouble getting out, trying to get reimbursement requests within the hospital, so that's something that we held. So we had that coalition. The SOAR grant is actually an opioid response grant that will end here in September of 29. That is something that, again, is a block grant. We request, that's how much we can request up to, not saying that we will get all of that money. That is, again, part of Jordan's prevention work. The SUPTERS is our state, that's a substance abuse prevention grant. That is what we can, again, ask up to. I'm not saying that that's something we can get. That will cover like our staff time, but a lot of it we have to put into other kind of into the community. So whether that's billboards or getting to the school, or that all those funds go in a different ways, not just all of our salary. And then state aid, we get about that amount of money from the state, and that's for our chronic disease. So that's where Larissa and I go in and we do medication management, we do setup, we do assessments, we do foot care, any injections that we can do, but it's very, very minimal. So total with just the grants for remaining of this year and for half of next year would be that amount. The amount in our checking as of yesterday is that total that you see there. We have to take into account though that community cares fund would not be in there, so then we're looking at $5,000 less. and also the opioid funds is directly solely to Jordan. So we have to take that out as well. And then we also just put on what we budgeted for county mill levy money. So from the last 5 years, what we budgeted, and then what we received. In 2024, we were asked to go down because of our income and what we had in our bank account, so we did go down. And now that it's hurting us. We were trying to be nice. So this kind of breaks down of what we have, our income. I also, on the next page, you'll see just a yearly, we switched over to a different EHR, electronic health record system. So we're still working on pulling data there, but we pulled it from our old one of what this is where Brenda comes in, she does our billing. So what she billed out, you can see the total amount there, and then what we received. So we don't even make and meet there of what we get from our insurance or private pay. Again, some we may not get the full pay. We can bill it out, or we can bill patients if they don't have any insurance, but we can't bill them more than once. So a lot of the stuff that we do is for the good of our community. Any questions so far?
Well, a quick question, in October of 24, you billed out way more than normal at 107,000, and really got reimbursed poorly.
So
What was the deal
this
there?
shows just the money that came in during that month, and insurances have.
Oh, there's a lag
90
time.
days or
Okay.
a year, however long, to respond to our claims.
Right, I see in November you receive more than you
Yep.
billed out. Okay,
And that's our flu season, so our busy season, so through COVID.
sure.
Yeah.
Our
Okay.
season. Yeah, but yeah, we do have a lag time, and again, 2 grants are like that as well. We may request that money, and we're still waiting on one from back in August, and we haven't received yet. The next page that I had added are just grants that we received from 2025. These are all zeroed out now. You will see COVID was a huge amount, obviously, but in 20 and 21, over 3/4 of that was already our salaries, equipment, supplies for COVID. We had to get a alarm system within our office because we house COVID vaccines, so that was a huge expense. And just expenses for operating out doing contact tracing, all of our salaries and all of our PPE protection equipment when we were testing. So those 2 grants were basically all for COVID. The health equity grant was brought to us to revamp all of our programs that we lost during the COVID time. So whether that was our chronic disease programs with medication management, getting back into the schools, we do all their immunization surveys, checking all their records, and that was how we got back into those systems. Along with that, we gave out about over, I would say, 30,000 to provide to the schools. That was part of the grant requirement, is to give to the schools, and that's where we did the food backpack program. We gave out to the schools. The immunization, health equity, and immunization initiatives, those were awarded to us to help with our immunizations, providing education. There was no means of providing, we could not pay for vaccines. That was all solely us doing work within the schools, providing education. We could bill out for us our time giving the vaccine, but we could not use it for providing for paying for those vaccines. The immunization program we get every year. This was just broke up every other year since we received those other awards. We get, from the other sheet you saw, the income, we only get about $1,200 per year, which does not carry over any for us to complete our work for the whole year. The FEP workforce grant, we were awarded for record retention. So we have to go through our records and see what we need to keep and what we don't keep, and that is a requirement that we have every year. So Brenda and our late Gerda work on that, and that was all paid through the Dept grant. The Dept grant we get every year, again, we'll be getting it this year, but that was what we received in 2025. And that next is the state aid general fund, that is what we received, again, for the chronic disease, in those last 5 years. Last 5 years of the tobacco grant, that is what we received, and then the state grant was our retention and workforce grant.
So out of the 11 grants, they no longer get 6 of those grants anymore.
A lot of information.
So that was my question is, Rick kind of answered it, the dilemma we're in is because of that.
Right, and also, like at one time, public health used to bill the services to the school, and the school would reimburse that. I know that is no longer happening, so public health is not billing the services they're doing to the school, the county is covering it.
And when I first started, the schools were kind of going away for that because of their budget, and so we weren't having a great relationship with them, and now you're in there all the time, helping with
Yeah,
that.
'cause it's free.
Right.
I pay those bills all the time.
Another thing that we have to take into account is our insurance went up 15%, in July. Our staff is very diligent of making sure that we're only doing 32 hours a week. We only work 4 days a week, 8 hours a day. It's a lot of work in that amount of time to try to get things done. But they're always contacting me and saying, hey, I have to work a couple more hours, is that okay? We're not making sure we're not getting overtime.
And I know that Caitlin, just from being a former administrator, as the administrator, you're working and you're not getting paid for a lot of the time. So, not only Caitlin, but I know staff too, so she puts a lot of work in without being reimbursed.
When we visited about a month ago, I think the number that still sticks out in my head is $32,500 a month, give or take, to operate the unit. This makes it look like it might be a little bit higher than that.
So December, because there's a third payroll, that's why that's up.
And vaccines, we have to take into account that could be lowered too, more per se that it's coming within our flu season here, if we have to order any more. Currently, I think we're up to date on our like how much we need to hold, but we have to hold so many certain private vaccines because we are vaccines for children and vaccines for adults program. So, I think we kind of took into account if we had to do an expense of that, because we have, that is a state rule of us, we have to have that in our.
And then I think when we were looking at that, that was just payroll. We hadn't figured any other monthly expenses at that point.
Okay. Could you give us your best estimate of the cost to run the unit over the entire January 1st to December 31st? Because it's no less than 400,000 and it's probably closer to 5 something. What would be your best estimate?
I get that too.
Well, along that line, and first off, no one questions you here, what a good job you are doing and how essential your office is to the county. Okay, it's admirable. What changed between budget time and now? And what do you need next year from us to keep operating? It's a complex, hard question.
Part of what changed is our health insurance went up, and that wasn't, I didn't have that figure at the time when we
Okay.
did the budget,
Okay.
and it went up by 15.23%,
Yeah,
and the agency pays 100%.
right. Okay.
And, that's part of it, and
There also, we had human error in taking money away. So we had money that budget that was not there, was not subtracted, so that was a human error of thinking we had carried over what we did not have. And that's how we came to the realization of like, no, this money is not there, it should have been taken away.
There was carryover money from a grant previous back in 2019. That was being put in the budget, that's not put in the budget.
Okay.
And what I see, you're probably doing all right because of all the grants from COVID and stuff for quite a while, and then
Yes.
So now there's less money to work with.
You know, and there's no grants available. I've tried applying in the bigger places for it. I just tried applying for a 30,000 in addition one, but it's a competitive grant.
Okay, right now, the state of North Dakota has an interim legislative committee. They were there meeting when I was there for election training the week before last. And the state of North Dakota is going to get $500 million to use over the course of a handful of years. I think it's at least 3 years worth. They should get some of that. And I visited with a legislative friend of mine who was on that committee, and I said, well, forget about Wells County District Health. And he distinctly told me, and of course, he's a rural legislator, so he's got a
Jim, I
muted
thought he had-
voice, but he said,
Yeah.
this is not meant for the Santas, this is not meant for St. Alexis, this is meant for the rural hospitals and the health districts and so on. When those dollars are gonna show up, I anticipate early 2026 there'll be a special session in North Dakota because the interim committee can't decide this on their own, they can only recommend.
Okay.
So when you see the state having a special session, that's when you can anticipate a decision to come. So is that in January, is that in February, is that in March? I don't know, but they're not in regular session.
No.
Until January of 2027. So that being said, that might be part of it, but that is not an immediate solution, and as near as I can tell, they're gonna run out of money at about Christmas time. So, and I told you some information here earlier that PRC is gonna have an unintended consequence in them getting the $160,000 that they're asking for in February and March, and are not likely to get that until, they'll get some of it, okay? But they're not gonna get all of it. That third payment doesn't come until July of next summer. So, yeah, they're in a hardship circumstance, and we can't make a decision on this today, but we're gonna need to have, okay, your best view of what 12 months will get, your best view of what your revenue will likely be, and then that gap is what we are talking about.
Right, that was my original question is, what do you need from us? And we won't decide today, but we will decide that obviously in the December meeting.
You're gonna have to, otherwise they could conceivably be out of money by the next time we meet,
Well, right.
so. This is what your story needs to be. Okay, not all the other crap that you wade through here. This is what your story needs to be. Because there's a lot of people out there that just figured this is another part of a overbloated whatever. This is a service that a lot of people are really gonna need.
A lot of the other, it's not just you guys, most of the departments in the state are in the same boat. I was in a meeting with Rowlett County, and they're worse off than you are.
No, it's not.
They're a little small county.
Oh, yeah. No,
That's,
So this, that you should be able to get to them, because we can't have that when we present the budget.
Yeah.
We can get this to them.
Anybody else have any other questions?
Because if you, looking back on your first sheet, the 95,392.54, and you take out the monies that you talked about from the 112,454, yep, you can make it to Christmas.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
There isn't anything else.
So, a lot of senior citizens of Wells County, things and have your Medicare take care of it or not? That's my puzzle, I don't understand that.
Like what we provide is medication management, that we can bill it, some approve, some don't.
Okay.
But it's to keep them within their homes, if they're not going to nursing homes, it's to keep them safe with their medications, not to overtaking, not undertaking.
Sure.
It just really depends on their insurance and what we can bill out for.
And they're not gonna pay for them to go to the doctor to have their medications.
Okay.
I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner, I own my own practice. They're very limited on what they're willing to pay, and yet for insurance, they only pay a percentage, it doesn't matter what service it is. They're only gonna pay you a percentage.
I was asking this question because they've been posing it and say, well, everybody's on Medicare, that takes care of it.
No.
I think it was.
No, it doesn't take care of it.
I
Even
see
insurance
lots
is-
of Medicare clients, it doesn't mean insurance
Okay.
pays much.
Right.
A lot of your insurance you put in, you sometimes you only get half.
We only get half. We
They
don't even-
contract, right?
Yeah, we
So you
contract.
contract, just like I do as a private provider, you contract with that insurance, and the insurance says, we will give you this amount for this service. You can bill over that, you will not receive that. And then if they're on a, like, certain, like Medicaid per se, they don't get a bill. You receive that.
Yeah. It'd be a lot easier if you got paid 100% back.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
easy.
yes. But that, yeah.
And our clients are all within Wells County, so we go, if they're in the Wells County zone, we'll travel to their home, if they're homebound. So we provide those services for all of those.
So not to speak to the group, but so we need a dollar figure at our December meeting to tide you over till next year. And we need a dollar figure for fiscal 26, correct?
Yeah, and I think, and I don't wanna tie you guys up, certainly not all four of you, but someone's gonna have to come back here in December, and we're gonna have to go through more bits of information, so we can make the best decision possible.
I think it's also worth mentioning, being you guys are such good stewards way back, that you've taken your budget forward, but you guys are doing so well and managing the doing so good, and that should not hurt you.
The last time the budget, the actual mills was increased was when I was the administrator. Karen had done it for so long at like 1.5 of what she could ask. And so when I took over, I asked to go up to 2. And it's never been anything
And
higher.
I don't know if you guys heard the conversation, Dan probably explain it again. We're at a 3% cap, where if you raise yours, it doesn't work for us, which probably should have been.
Well, the other thing is, you had a 2-3 year period where it was really a windfall, and you could say whether it was good or bad,
Right.
was COVID money.
Well, COVID,
Good
yeah.
Lord, there's money coming in, we didn't even know what it was for.
And you had to spend it or else.
Yeah.
And now that's
That's
not
all
there.
off, yeah, I can get that, yes.
Nice
all
and
off.
I don't know.
Yes, it did, you're right.
We had all this money and now,
Right.
So we have no savings, nothing to fall back, on. Everything has been put into the general fund on this year. We did have a little bit set aside, but
These grants, you think they're gone forever, or?
Well, we ain't getting COVID money
Not
back.
getting COVID
Like,
money.
those 6 of 11, like, no longer, COVID-19 is no longer.
health equity, the immunization, I applied for immunization, that only got awarded to 4, I'm sure there was 50 some that
You-
applied.
You can't bank on that. If
No.
you get it, you get it,
No.
but you
Yeah.
can't rely on
In
that.
fact, workforce grant is no longer, right?
Yeah, that's no longer, that was just a one time.
And so with public health, we also, just like in the state, we're always competing against bigger health units. Rural tends to be overlooked. You know, that's changed from my time.
In the meantime, start filling the schools.
East, west, and north, and we're in no man's land.
That's such a great relationship right now.
I'm sure that won't affect it at all.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
I guess before you go, maybe you gotta put some figures and get them together,
Yeah.
and you can get them to us and we'll work it out.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get that to you guys.
And then you guys can decide amongst you who can come back in December.
Well, you're all welcome.
Yeah, you are, but I don't wanna tie your.
No.
All the support you can.
Keep up the good work. It's one of those things that's happening. It's not only your department.
One of many dominoes that are gonna come.
Keep your heads up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. So I guess in finishing that up, Dan, you'll have to get the numbers, and next meeting, we gotta take care of this.
Yeah, I had hoped that that number was a good number, but it's, I just look at this and I think that's low.
Well, and the thing is, they're operating as efficiently as they can.
And I wish there were some things in there that would pay to make a handful of changes, but the vast majority of this is in human resources, and that's just,
You know,
Yeah.
and I have to say this is not taken out of context, but when we met with them earlier, we went through some things that could be cut, and the topic of the office investment came up, and that was just a conversation. Somehow it got in the community, and Kayla just got bombarded with calls about the investment office, you're not. We determined that wouldn't even hardly make a difference.
No, that's a minor cost.
But it got out in the public that we were gonna do that, and that is not the case. So that's a minor expense, really.
it is.
And even though this office gets used for about not even eight as much as the
No,
other.
it really is reasonable. Well, and I guess, don't put this in the paper, but I'm a little disappointed that they should have known some of this in August when they presented the budget. They didn't increase the budget, the 26th budget in August.
Some of that doesn't come through till the end.
Well,
You should have seen it.
I get the health insurance part,
Yeah, I think
but
that's
that's a minor one, you know, but that's hindsight.
Yeah.
And Doc and I are on that board, we didn't scrutinize it either.
Well, all things have been going so darn good for so long there. It's just kind of, it's kind of a neat department.
It is, they do a great job.
But this is really no different than some of the other obstacles that we have. And it's, I guess it's better to know about it, we found out about it in, I believe, late September. Be better than finding out about it in December, when they can't meet a January payroll.
Well, right, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, this is, in fact, the one workshop we went to, if we get time to go, but it was called Disaster in the Counties.
Yeah.
There's a whole list of things that are in dire straits as is this department.
A lot of stuff happening.
Yeah.
And we can be very lucky, because in Wells County, we have got a lot of good employees. They're very dedicated to their jobs. That's not the case all over.
And our problem is keeping them.
I know.
In fact, Wallet County, which I mentioned, is the poorest county in North Dakota supposedly, and they have, it's part reservation stuff. And they've got a pretty big department, and the gals have like 3 nurses who are just can't do it. So, it's not a good deal. Okay, anything else anybody want to mention on that? If not, we'll have the man, Brent.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
I just came back in, I got called out this morning. On Friday and Monday of this week and beginning of next week, we'll have probably 4 of the blade operators come over. We have some work we need to tidy up. I want them in the blades as much as possible. Right now, because of the damage that's being done to the road due to the corn harvest, Friday is supposed to barely be 30 degrees. I just came in from the Cottonwood Road. If you guys are familiar with it, it's a FSA gravel road that's on our south of town. And there's 2 spots where the muskrats are collapsing the road away. I got a call from a gentleman this morning that lives along it.
it, so I immediately went out there, and they're tunneling and collapsing into the roadbed. So we'll have 3 or 4 blade guys come over on Friday. We're gonna take the backhoe out, we're gonna push away, we're gonna push down and push away where the road is collapsing to fill in the voids, and then we're gonna haul clay and repair the inslope. It's not a huge project, but it's, you know, probably 3-4 truckloads of clay and time consuming. And
Does the
I
county
go,
have traps?
well, I can tell you this, muskrats have been a problem for many, many, many years in Wells County. Back when I first started for the county, Jim actually was a foreman then. He actually got a permit from the Game and Fish to allow us to shoot them. Normally you can only trap them.
I was a joke.
Yeah, oh no, it was kind of funny because when we were bored, we would drive around in the county pickup with 22s and shoot muskrats.
Years ago, they used to be worth some money.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so we will be working on that on Friday. I'm utilizing the blade guys to help out, but obviously it's very important that they're on the roads still.
They're 5 days a week now?
Yeah, we're 5. We went 2 winter hours just like the courthouse did as of Monday of this week. So we will all be here. So we're gonna be working on that, and then we'll also have a crew that we have Durapatcher oil and some Omega Mix to work on Highway 71. There's some potholes down there, and we got oil in the Durapatcher. We have 2 options. We get that Durapatcher empty of oil, or we leave it plugged in all winter. So we're gonna use that oil. We'll have the blade guys go down, and that's a 2, 3, 4 person job. So between Friday and Monday, we'll be working on 71 and our county gravel road, Cottonwood Road. So if you do get any calls about the road collapsing away, I looked at it this morning. There are cones up, and hopefully within a week everything will be fixed. Okay. Some of the guys have their wing posts on. Other guys will be probably putting them on end of next week. There's really no threat of severe winter weather, knock on wood, for several weeks yet. I don't need to tell you that when you see big muskrat huts, you know the old saying, the bigger the hut, the worse the winter. And there are some muskrat huts out there. So, oh yeah.
I don't think I've seen a muskrat hat in 5
So,
years.
right where this road, the one slough that I was there, where the road's collapsing away, there's a muskrat hut out there that's 2 tables wide and 2 tables high. It's just huge. I've never seen one that big. So, and that's what they're using. They tunnel, they're building dens or whatever. So we gotta fix that, and we will. The guys are all out blading, and they've been blading every day that we could. We've had a lot of wet weather these last couple weeks, and when you're trying to lose windrow, it doesn't dry like it does in July when we get these little rains. But they are working, they're jumping around, they're working on washboards, and they're working on areas where there is problems because of corn harvest. They're working on their main roads. A lot of these secondary roads that aren't open in the winter, they're gonna not look so good, because we just don't have time to mess with them. I don't like calling them secondary roads anymore. I call them ag roads. We don't blade them in the winter. We don't move snow in the winter, and they're used in the summer for agricultural purposes. And I think that's a better term. So they're working on their main roads, and they're trying to fix the damage that's being caused by corn harvest.
Any of the guys complaining about some of the ditches not being moved?
There's a few guys that have spoke up to some township supervisors. And said, hey, you know, these were supposed to be mowed by October 15th. One of our blade guys, I don't need to tell you who, went down in the ditch. There's your hint. He did a nice job. He took a bunch of the blow dirt that had blown into the ditch, and he took it and he recut the inslope of the ditch and took the guy's dirt and put it back out in the field. Who's aware of the situation? He didn't do anything wrong. He actually did a good job, and the farmer was very upset. He says,
Use that for an approach.
yeah.
Use that for an approach.
The ditch was filled in so bad that it was basically like a 200-yard approach to go into his field.
Right off the road into the field.
Yep, that's how he did it. Well, we
Jumbled.
recut the ditch and made room for snow, and he got quite upset. He goes, I don't want my dirt, put it back in the ditch where it was. We're not gonna do that. So just little things, you know, there's all kinds of little calls, and sometimes I wish you guys could hear them, but, so anyway, we're still plugging away.
We've heard them.
Yeah, the guys are still blading, and they're gonna blade till freeze up. You know, a lot of times by now, we're done blading, but the weather's cooperating.
Well, you
and-
got moisture. The road,
We got-
I think the roads have never been in such good shape, man.
Well,
they're so
this-
packed
How did our
that-
buddy's road turn out east?
Oh, actually really good. I don't know how long it lasted. But literally there is one of our county FSA roads that we put tens of thousands of dollars of gravel on this road in the last 4 years. And we got a call saying, man, this road is all mudded up and it's just terrible. Boone got a call, I went out and looked at it, and it was bad. And it was just beat to you know what,
The
because
first mile was only
the
bad.
first mile to this guy's farm. And so we double and triple bladed it the next day, and it looked great, but it probably lasted 2 days.
I don't know, I haven't been.
You know, and it was one of those situations where the one neighbor was blaming the other neighbor, and this neighbor was blaming the other neighbor, and it was just, and we just keep plugging away, and like I told the gentleman, I said, we can't be back to blade this road every 2 days. You know, but, with the moisture, that doesn't mean corn harvest stops, they keep going.
Well, the problem with that too is the fields are too wet, so a lot of the unloading is doing.
Right on the roads.
On the roads,
Right.
they're running up and
Yeah,
running the
they're
shoulder
parking
of the
this-
road down.
They're parking the semis on the road and bringing the grain carts up on the roads, and they're beating it on the road.
Shoulder down.
Yep, and then down the ditch they go empty, and
bringing some mud up.
and bringing mud and everything up on the roads, and this is the harsh reality of North Dakota being the new corn belt.
But,
I
I
mean,
mean, the guys that are doing that are the ones complaining about their roads.
Exactly,
Well, if they increase the gas tax, then they could pay for it.
I agree with you.
So,
So,
I brought that up a time or two before.
Well, down in Bismarck, you can.
Never mind.
First I
you
heard
never
that.
shut up.
You ever heard of that before, Dan?
so we're plugging away, and we're gonna keep the blades out there till it freezes up. But as Dan said, the best thing that can happen for these roads is the moisture that we've had, because some of them almost look like you could paint the yellow stripe down
Oh,
those.
my.
Right.
Okay, and it doesn't look very good, but it rides good, and when it freezes, that gravel's gonna stay on the road.
It'll freeze that way.
It'll freeze
Right.
that way. So, I mean, there are good and bad to both situations, so just to let you know, we're still going.
You need to.
Yeah, we're gonna continue to blade just because it's, November 1st now or 4th, it doesn't mean we stop blading, as long as the weather permits. All our truck plows are ready to go. You guys are aware of the 2 retired guys that are gonna help out. I did get a phone call yesterday from a gentleman that's interested in a Fesman job, and he may have stopped up yesterday. Yep, picked up an application from Dan, and he's gonna turn that back in, and we'll have to look at it. He's interested in working. I think he is coming from the flour mill in Harvey. I won't mention any names, but he wanted an application, so I sent him up to get one. I told him he could just write one up, or he could come get ours, and he came and got ours.
What's he capable of doing?
He currently does not have a commercial driver's license. I told him he's gonna have to get one, that we would help him get that. But that it's not a requirement to apply, but it will be a requirement when you work. So I don't know the gentleman personally. He spoke to another one of our blade operators. So I actually spoke to the blade operator, and he knows him. He's in his, he thought in his 40s, and I think his wife might teach in Harvey. So anyway, there is at least interest in somebody.
That would be good.
Yep. So, as far as the fairgrounds, I've met with Brian on this. We've gotten the okay to tear down the building that we've all talked about. I talked to Dennis a little bit at the conference. Our plan is in a couple weeks, I'm not gonna pull blade guys when they can blade, but in a couple weeks, we're gonna go out with our backhoe and our thumb, and we're gonna try to rip the metal roof off. And once that roof is off, we're just gonna push it into a pile. It won't take us long to take that building down. There's not much in there. We got maybe 15 minutes of getting some old cutting edges out that were for the V plows and have probably been in there since the 80s or 70s. That'll take 10 minutes. And then we're gonna push it into a pile. And then our intention at the road department is when we get some snow cover, we're gonna burn it. And then we'll have to deal with the metal, the roof, will probably be buried next to the Cathay School, but that is irrelevant, right now. But our intention is hopefully by the end of October, middle or end of October, or November, to have that building down, and we wanna get it burnt, and so it can be cleaned up and look nice for the fair next year.
You have to dig a hole out there, or is there a?
We have a small hole, but we'll have to dig another one for the roof, I've had people inquire about the tin on the roof. You know, is it nailed on, is it screwed on? I said a little bit of both. But honestly, I would not put anybody up on that roof. Brian has been in the building.
Get the roof to fall down.
Right, and
Then they
we
could
could,
fix it,
we
you know.
just we feel that there was two options. If we knock it down with the roof on and burn it, we're not gonna get a very good burn.
No.
Because that metal, you know, that tin.
They took the metal off.
Yeah, and it's not, we can't, I would not send 100-pound gentleman up on that roof to peel that off. The Historical Society took some stalls and some stuff out of there, and it's not like a stiff wind is gonna knock the building down, but it is not safe to be on that roof. I think Brian would agree, you've been in there. The structural integrity of the building is not the same with some of the stalls that were taken out.
The only way you're gonna get that tin off by somebody taking it off is you'd have to come with a telehandler with a 16-foot basket, and you could reach out.
Reach out, but you can't be on the roof
Right.
itself. Yep.
That's,
And what we're hoping is our backhoe has a thumb, so we can reach up and grab and pinch and peel and pull. So that is our intent. Other than that, it is business as usual at the road department. I'm hesitant to ask this, especially after the last crew was in. But the road department is in dire need of a trailer. Yes. So what we have had since '99, it's a '99 model, is basically a tandem axle car trailer. And we have used the living heck out of this thing.
And broken too.
And it's been broken, and it's got two 7,000-pound axles, and it's twisted up. And we've hauled, you know, when we first bought it back in the '90s, even before my time, we didn't have a skid steer. We didn't, you know, we have all cutting edges and stuff on it. Now it's been used for stuff that it shouldn't be used for. We put our roller on it. It is not structurally sound to move our skid steer on that trailer. We put it on there and we looked at it and we backed the skid steer out. It's like, no more. I have been trying, and when I was at the convention, I went to several trailer sites that week or those couple days I was up there to try to find a tilt bed trailer, bumper pole, 2 5/16 hitch with 10,000-pound axles. And there is one in Bismarck. To get a trailer that has the 10,000-pound axles, you're almost relegated to gooseneck, and we don't have the ability to pull a gooseneck. So this trailer is at Extreme Trailer Sales in Mandan, and what it is, it's a 22-foot trailer with a 16-foot tilt bed, 6 stable in the front, with 10,000-pound axles and a 2 5/16 ball. It's a heavy-duty built trailer for hauling skid steers, rollers. It actually would be big enough to haul our backhoe. We have 2 5/16 ball hitches on one of our tandem trucks and on our single axle truck that we would pull this thing around with. Now the downfall is they're very hard to come by, but the biggest downfall is it's a $22,000 trailer. You can buy tilt bed trailers with the 7,000-pound axles for half the cost. But, and those 7,000-pound tilt beds would be enough to haul our skid steer. But it would be right at the borderline margin of what, I mean, basically it's what we have. And as you know, equipment is just getting bigger and heavier.
This is brand new.
this is brand new 26. I looked for used. I went and BizMan, that, you can find them, but they're all gooseneck with the 10,000 pound axle.
You might wanna talk to Corey and Casey, they've got a trailer that they use for hauling cars with a wrench on it, a full tilt. And they use the power out of that thing. It's
Yeah.
just like a rollback, but it's a trailer version.
I
I
went
don't know what
to,
the axles are.
yeah, I went to, a new trailer spot in Bismarck. It's actually out by exit 161. You guys who were up there know that wasn't any fun going out to that trailer spot. Trying to get into their lot. They do handle full tilt bed trailers, kind of like what you're talking, but they have 7,000 pound axles. They would have to
You
specialize.
gotta go with the bigger axles.
Yeah, they would have to build it. So, I'm not telling you guys that give me 22,000, I'm gonna go pick up a trailer, but I am telling you that if we have to move our skid steer right now, we do not have a trailer. And I would be nice to have the skid steer out at this project on Cotton. But as I understand, money is not cheap. I mean, it's not plentiful. Money's not cheap, yeah. It's not plentiful. One thing that I think maybe we should do, is I think we should advertise that 9th blade. Rather than extend a warranty on it, we're shorthanded as it is.
Oh, yeah, you mean sell it?
Sell it. I think we should put an ad out and try to sell it. I think we could get $100,000 for it. It's a cat, it's a 160, it's an all-wheel drive, it's got a wing, I mean, I've used it this summer, but it hasn't been used much because we've been so short-handed for 6 months.
How many hours do you put on it?
I don't even know if we put 300 hours on it.
How many total hours is it?
No.
Oh, there's a little over 6,500, I think. I'd have to, give or take. But I used it, I was blading with it in the end of April and May, and I used it in June, and then it sat for 4 months. Now, it is, if we break one down in a tough winter, we have it, okay? But it's a lot of money to be sitting there collecting rust. I think it was a great idea, but I think even by holding on to this machine for a couple of years like we have, I think that if we sell it outright and advertise it, we'll get just as much for it now as we would have got 2 years ago on trade. You know, so I'm just trying to find some options for you guys because I don't need to, I know that the road department is always in the red, but boy, we could really use a trailer, guys. We really could.
So, as time goes along here, and things are gonna get tight, and all that, you're gonna have to find some new places when you take it.
Well, I've had this talk with most of you guys. I'm concerned.
Is there any alternatives that townships may start doing some of their own road maintenance with different machinery?
Well, I'll tell you what I do at home. I'm not done, but I hope to be done by the end of the year. I am currently working on, so we have 8 blade guys in Wells County. 6 of those guys are 60 and a half or 61 years old.
Right.
And we're having a tough time getting applications. And that's no secret to anybody. And it's gonna be tough to replace these guys when they retire. And so I am currently working now at home on trying to link up about 500 miles of main township roads. Roughly, I'm trying to stick to about 12 miles per township. 36 townships, 480 miles. And I'm trying to link up main roads through the townships that we would continue to provide year-round winter maintenance and summer maintenance on these roads. And as my sheets show here, and as Dan knows, and as you guys know, there's 1,347 township miles. So that leaves about 800 miles that we possibly would no longer touch anymore. And as the time comes, and we can't replace these blade guys, we start eliminating blades at the county. Now, I don't want to do this, and I don't want it in the paper that I want to do this. But we need to start looking at what the
down the
future,
miles.
yeah, what the future brings.
Well, I don't want to squelch the conversation, but agenda, long-term planning, a conversation like this has gotta occur at that meeting.
Yeah.
Not maybe this one.
Right, but I mean,
We need, I got all kinds of ideas also, and some
Yeah.
of them are probably not very good,
I agree.
but you gotta throw them all out there and look at the pros and cons, and that's a special
That's
meeting.
worth thinking about, but it would,
Well, yeah, there's
it would make life a lot simpler too.
Well, I'm just trying to come up with solutions.
It's the
You know,
reality
the
of what's.
reality of the situation. It doesn't mean it's gonna happen tomorrow, doesn't mean it's gonna happen next year. But in the near 4 or 5 year plan future of Wells County, there's gonna be there's likely gonna be some tough decisions that gotta be made. But anyway, other than that, I don't, you guys have any questions for me or any complaints, or I'm here to take my whipping.
Just, can you give us an update on that storage container? Did that come or what?
Okay.
I talked to Chris and he
Yeah,
wasn't sure.
so, while I was at the state convention on Monday, I got a phone call from the guy that was gonna deliver it, and he said it'll be here Wednesday. I said, okay, I'll be there to unload it. We cleared a spot, put the back or the skid or the payloader inside. Wednesday at 4 o'clock, it didn't come. He called, he goes, oh, that was a different container that was on that truck. He said, and he told me when I ordered it, that they only deliver on Wednesday, so I figured, okay, it's gonna be this Wednesday. Then I got a phone call Thursday afternoon saying the truck's gonna deliver October 31st, Friday. So I said, okay, I'm not working, but I live in Fazlin, here's my number, I'll be around, I'll unload it. Never got a call. So, never got a call from the truck driver. So I'm assuming it's coming this Wednesday, coming out of Minneapolis. But I've reached out to him and I reached out to him this morning. He hasn't called back. I'm assuming it'll be here. I have a spot ready for it, set it down. So I was all excited. I called Chris and the sheriff's department and said, hey, your container's coming Wednesday. Then I let him know, no, I guess it's coming Friday. All right, so it didn't come. I hung around the house all day Friday until we got called out. The road department was called out on Friday, late Friday, to an accident scene, a rural accident scene where we took a blade out there. And we were out there for about 4 hours waiting for the cleanup, and then we had to repair the road. So there was a couple of us that didn't get home Friday night till 8 o'clock, but it was all taken care of. As of now, I expect it tomorrow. But it was ordered. I had it ordered 3 days after the last meeting.
Well, it's paid for already according to the bill.
Yeah, he sent the bill. It just hasn't been delivered. I know he's very busy with these containers. This is his busiest time in the fall. Everybody's buying them. And he said he only has 3 trucks that pull out of Minneapolis every Wednesday. So, I know we're next, but that's the best update I can give you.
What size was that?
This is a 40-footer,
Oh, it's.
yes.
We're doing it long time ago.
Yeah, so, I have a spot cleared out at the shop. Easy access for the sheriff's department.
Okay, before, we gotta move along here,
Yeah.
what do you guys wanna do about the trailer? Anybody got any suggestions, thoughts?
Let's think about it. I'm not willing to buy it today.
Is it something you're gonna start using this fall, or can it make it till next spring when?
Well, I mean, we usually in the winter, we don't have to move the back, or the skid steer. It's summer is when we're doing the skid steer. So, can they, do I need an answer? No, but, if we decide that, say January or February or whatever, that we're gonna get a trailer, it may take a month to get, because they may have to build one, but that's not the end of the world. But it is something that, that I think we really need to seriously look at, but I think we should also seriously look at getting rid of that thing.
That would be my suggestion, to look through this winter for maybe even a possible used one.
Used one, yeah. keep
You never
looking.
know, something might pop up.
Yes, I understand. Like I said, I didn't want to bring it up, but I have.
Let's table it and talk about it again next month, keep looking.
I will.
Okay, anything else? Jason?
This actually, I'm gonna step off this actually, be the container guy.
Warren?
All right, Dave.
I don't have
ton for you, but I wanted to stop by. I sent the third estimate for Hamburg. That should be about it, Dan, so you know, we've got that retainage. So we're just kind of finding some things out. I was gonna talk to Brent, when him and I met out there, he was happy with everything, so as far as I know, we are essentially wrapped up. But we're waiting on them to come back to, finish off the Hall Road. They had some gravel that the township up there wanted, and not that done now, so the bill that you guys are probably gonna see or already have seen, should be just about everything other than the retainage that's left out, so. That should wrap that one up. Was there any comments from you guys on that, or any thoughts?
Looks like it turned out really good.
Obviously, some of those shoulders are still a little steep.
Yeah.
But we didn't do the dirt job. so-
People aren't supposed to drive on the shoulders anyway, so,
Well,
you know, it's,
yeah.
There's a lot of them like that in the town, so.
Yeah.
I think everything turned out all right. We put a pretty good amount of gravel on those shoulders, so hopefully the gravel's gonna hold. I mean, that's obviously a concern. We seeded on it, so hopefully something will grow through it. I guess we did throw a little seed out there. I don't know if you knew that, but.
Did you put some seed out there?
Yeah, Red River broadcast a little bit, just to hopefully get it to hold.
Okay.
You're happy with everything?
Yeah, there was a heck of an improvement after you fixed that south shoulder.
Yeah.
It was a little scary.
We were really hoping to put some topsoil there, but they couldn't round it. They were trying to work with Kerry to get some topsoil, but nothing was close enough to really get to, so.
If you don't need me here, our container's here. I'm going loaded.
Good deal.
So,
How ironic is that?
yeah,
It's
so.
not Wednesday, it's Tuesday, they're
It's
ahead.
Tuesday, they're a day ahead. So I'm gonna go unload this container, so you guys are aware it's here, okay? Thank you, guys.
The only other thing I wanted to discuss, there is SRF funding now. I can't remember who all is down there, but they've got quite a bit of funding here now, for anything related to parks, related to, wildlife management areas, anything basically that goes to something the state, has an interest in, qualifies. So, the one project, and it's $500,000 that they cap it at, but they changed it to 80% state funding, 20% local. So that makes it a little more enticing. The apps are due at the end of this month, so if we're gonna do something, I need to know today, so we can put that application there. I think you had mentioned, Coal Mine Road.
Well, since then, I visited with Pony Gulch Township. And see, there's another road that goes to the fall campground. That's 2 miles south of the Coleman Lake Road. And that road would go to the fall campground, and a couple more miles you'd be connected up with the farm to market road from Martin to Goodrich. They kept connected with that road, so they were more interested in working on that road than anything. So that would be, let's see, Coal Mine Lake Road is 18th, right?
That's in Sheridan County.
No, part of it is.
Am I looking at that right?
It's 18th Street, it comes off the curve south of Harvey. It starts off of Highway 3 and it ends up at Coal Mine Lake.
and you're right, some of it's in Sheridan County.
Just
Last-
north of the canal, right?
The
It
west.
goes just north of the canal goes west.
No,
south.
it's south of the canal.
Right
The
south
road
of
is
Walter,
just south.
right south of Albert Vedder's
Right.
farm.
Right, it's on the curve south of Harvey.
That's correct in line.
18th Street. The next one would be, the next one actually has more incentive because it comes off of Old 52 and would go all the way to the farm to market road of market, but that would have to include 2 counties then. And that would be in, Fairview Township. That's what they were, because I called Dennis Hall, he's the guy on the township there, and he was moving.
Gravel or what do you?
No, they were
Money or what?
They're talking paving them, right?
Well, I mean, it's up to $500,000 of whatever you guys think you can afford to do, because you've still got to come up with the rest of that money.
Right.
So if you pave it,
Yeah, I don't know, I remember, we were at the meeting, at the DOT meeting, and they were talking about paved roads and all kinds of stuff.
Well, it would qualify, but I'm thinking this is probably more of an upgrade gravel road. Just
Well, whatever the case
I mean,
is,
if you pave it, you're talking, at most, we could probably do 2 miles, and you guys would be pitching in $200,000 or $300,000.
Yeah, right. No,
this would be,
This would be a gravel
I'm
upgrade.
definitely thinking more of a gravel upgrade.
but I do know he was gonna check into it, he was gonna snoop, cause he's pretty handy with that stuff. And he was gonna check into it,
So
see,
the first option is 18th Street. Are you saying the second option is 16th Street then?
yeah,
Coming
yeah,
right off?
16th would be coming right up Old 52, and that would go to the Powell Campground in Lone Tree.
Well, I don't know if this is something you guys are.
And those are both township roads, not county roads.
Either one of them.
They're township, right?
Yep, and I put the right guy on him, cause he will research it, and if it goes, if he
Yep.
gets somewhere, fine, if he doesn't, that's fine too. But I had him look at it because it's in his township.
That wouldn't involve it, it would.
Well, right, we're not willing to pay 20% of any upgrade on a township road.
I understand, I told you, I had him look this up, and I'm glad that you brought it up, because now,
Who's Ken?
then his fault. He's the township.
So townships can apply for this also?
You would have to apply for it, and you guys would need to have an agreement with the township if they were going
He's
to
gotta
pay
come in
some
and
of that
ask us
local.
all.
I mean, the
Right.
township could pay for a portion, if not all of the local,
20%.
if they have that.
But this has to be done.
I was gonna say, the time frame here ain't gonna work.
This program goes every year.
It hasn't in the past, has the last 2 years now. And there's more money, they explained, there's more money because they have higher interest rates now on the stuff they have with the bank and the.
We should be looking into this as a city of Harvey to take care of Schroeder Park. That's what we should be looking into.
Yes.
So,
Are there,
the tourism department have anything to do with some of this? They were looking to do some roads too, I'm understanding you with that.
yeah, they're completely separate.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, if tourism decides to, they've got money to do a project, they're a standalone thing, they don't, the DOT and the tourism department don't really interact, they probably should anymore.
Is there any way they can use that money for Highway 71?
They're parked down there.
Well,
Dumber things have happened, people.
There would have to be
There'd have to
something.
be a state land
but
down there.
it's to go to a park or something.
It's to
That's
go to
money.
anything the state has an interest in, so.
State land
That's
of any
pretty
sort,
broad.
like
It is.
There's some
And they
state
said they
land
approved
down
almost.
there.
wildlife production
For
area.
wildlife,
He was
there's
very
some
open.
state land down there for wildlife.
Well, is it state land or is it federal land? If
It
it's-
is?
It's
Brian
federal.
knows what I'm
It's
talking.
federal land managed by the state of, North Dakota.
Some is, some isn't.
No, Lone Tree is owned by the Department
Oh.
of Interior and is managed by the state fish and game.
But a lot of the wildlife production areas, we
Yeah.
got a quarter east
Some
of
of them
us.
are-
There's a lot of federal.
That's federal.
The county really doesn't have anything going in the way of Lone Tree or anything.
No. No.
You could almost qualify 52%, old 52% funding, because it's bringing pheasant towards Lone Tree. I mean, honestly, I think that would.
That's a stretch, but whatever works.
But could you go beyond that then with the upgraded gravel to get to this contract?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but then it's township.
With the
So then you guys
Right.
would need to have an agreement.
Right, I understand, I'm just asking, because I'm gonna get asked these questions,
I,
that's why I'm asking.
I don't think it's a complete stretch though to look at potentially applying for Old 52 for some funding.
Well, I think that'd be a good idea.
Actually, yeah, I would talk about it.
But when you talk to the town, if they're willing to put the money, they should come and try to work with us.
Well, this just came
Some
up
of
with
the townships
man.
have the money.
I just got it started on this is just,
And-
I
and-
will check it out.
If we, let's say we do get the flex funding, the SRF funding could be attached to that. Because we actually in Burke County had a federal aid project already planned to pave up to Short Creek Dam north of Columbus, and we got SRF funding last year, and they allowed us to just attach it to it. So it just took out the apply for Old 52, essentially for the project you guys already have, just as an add-on to that, and to get that. Obviously, you can reject that funding, so if we don't get the money in January to do what we want to do on Old 52, we could turn away the SRF funding, which would be, sad to be able to turn away that funding. So,
Well, there's a cost in everything. What does it cost to apply for it?
nothing, we'll do the application here.
Okay.
As long as I know what I'm doing today, we'll do the application and send it one for you guys.
Okay.
So,
No, if it doesn't
the
cost.
only
you-
way you would talk with this township would be through us, is that guy would have to come here, present it to keep the road going. Not paved, but just improve the road.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you and the township had an agreement, we could include that as well, but you guys are gonna have to have an agreement with the township that they're paying a portion, or they're paying the 20% of whatever continues on. And we could add that to this
And
application.
then as it gets to Sheridan County, to get to the, Paul Camp County, we have to get cahoots with them too.
Well, actually, we're Sheridan County's engineers, so I can call John down in our Bismarck office and see if they'd be willing to attach it. Honestly, we'd be really good to attach it.
That's all good in theory, but you gotta deal with a township in Sheridan County and a township in Wells County, and they gotta coordinate with the counties, and that's all gotta be done in the
I
next 30
understand all
days.
that, so we're just gonna throw it down the river, forget about it?
It's gonna be done today though.
Well, here's the thing, it's a $500,000 cap, so if we do Old 52, let's say we get the funding, you guys could probably potentially work something out with the township later on and say, hey, we'll continue on past this point. The funding can go towards Old 52, possibly look at
But you can
doing some
stretch
work.
it out.
Yeah,
Can it go like next year?
the SRF fund, if you guys get this, you'll have a couple of years to do something.
Then it ain't out nothing to put it in there.
It's
Well,
obviously,
and-
it's hard for a county to,
Looking down the
Get
road,
an
Brian has a
agreement
good
with the
point
township.
in that
16.
we need to know this stuff more ahead of time.
It just came out at the convention.
yeah.
I know,
They sent it last month.
I know. It's no fault of your guys, I'm just saying.
Right. But
They-
there's no sense to not keep looking at it, because maybe next year we could do it.
Oh, right, yeah. But, yeah,
We
it
have
doesn't
to have
cost
agreement
anything.
with township.
Right.
Do the old 52.
I know.
I think it would be
understand that.
pretty easy for us to, cause you gotta put a narrative together, it'd be easy for Greg to explain how Pheasant connects to Lone Tree. I don't think that's a problem at all. I
Okay.
mean,
Because there's some pretty crappy road over there to the west.
Right.
Before you hit the farm to market road from Market.
Bridge
And
down
there's
the bottom.
And there's a ton of people from Pheasant that go to Lone Tree. That's the sarcastic remark. You would put that in the application because there's people, I mean, they have to establish a need, and you have to establish that.
And then that campground's only 2 or 3 miles from Coleman, so they can get on the other road and get there too.
That's right.
But continuing off Old 52, I would think would be way more enticing than trying to pull off to somewhere else, because it's a continuation.
Right.
it would be more enticing for them to award that.
Your chances of getting it are better, right?
Right. So I don't know. In the meantime, maybe you can talk to township.
I will do it.
Well, that's what we'll do then. We'll see what we can do with that.
Very good.
All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything from me? No. Waiting on everything else pretty much.
We're good, I guess.
Rub the right elbows, make sure we get a Christmas gift this year. I'm not talking about from you guys, I'm talking from the state.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
We can rely on your Christmas present. The state's a different issue.
If you guys get a Christmas present, we get a Christmas present.
I know that.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
meal the other night, by the way, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, very good. PRC guys, you wanna come on up?
Morning.
Morning.
Got 2 for 1 today.
Oh, you
Varsity
guys-
and JVs. Well, I'm gonna take advantage of Wellston here for detail, but we're just, more of a routine monthly check-in, report on where we're at. There's no big news really, just a progress update and, give you a lead on where we're at and coming ahead.
Good morning. Paul mentioned, nothing right in front of us here to present the County Commission today. It's kind of breaking things apart. Like a lot of us right now, we're trying to finish up our field work. So a couple things that we've got going on. We've got some surveyors out in the field. Had to juggle around our harvest time, right? So, but that work will be wrapping up, if not this week, next week. I think we've done a good job avoiding conflicts, avoiding being on the roads, those types of things when people are hauling. So I think that's all gone well. But that work will be wrapping up. Not in Wells County, but we are putting up a couple of net towers this week, so the additional monitoring towers, just so you know, that activity is going on within the project and not here in Wells County. And then we'll be wrapped up in the field. So things are getting done before winter. So I think as far as any constituents seeing activities from us, that should be pretty well wrapped up by next week. So just wanted to give a courtesy heads up on that. What we've been focusing primarily on is working with the townships. As I think we talked about, our permitting process will start with the townships, and then if they've got their own zoning, and then we'll work with the county. So within Wells County, we've been engaged with Valhalla Township.
Bremen too?
Yeah, right now, we don't have any infrastructure plans in Bremen, so we continue to talk with them. Yep, we're visiting with them and talking, so part of our back and forth, is we.
One of the landowners just called me and said that they took one tower away and he put up two.
So all.
And that's whatever.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
he asked if I was for it, and I was never against it.
Right.
So, that's where it becomes.
You had a question with the zoning when it comes about how it was, if you want to give an answer to that?
I believe we got an answer on that. The overarching is that we're just gonna follow the Wells County zoning ordinance that we all worked so diligently on. So that will be how we're gonna apply, and that will apply at the township, and if we need to at the county, and make sure that it's all one, so that we need to.
I think Valhalla has their own, but when push comes to shove, when it comes to a permit, they just said, why don't you guys do it?
Right.
Right, in layman's terms. Right, yeah.
So we'll coordinate, we don't wanna make it overly burdensome, we're just gonna do it all consistent, so, as we go to apply for that, we'll make sure we reach out to you, let you know what's happening, but everything's based on the Wells County zoning ordinance.
Okay.
On the Bremen side, we'll continue to talk with them, right now, we're not currently planning on any infrastructure, we had, a number of really good discussions with the landowners, trying to address concerns, and we came to an amicable resolution, that was, that's our understanding, so, but I know folks are still wondering about are the towers in or not, but that's kind of where that's at right now.
And of course, you got it all, any county, you got everything really good.
We got two townships that,
Whatever, I
Yeah.
just had to throw that
I
in there.
appreciate that.
I had to throw that in there. so
You
we
either
know.
laugh or you cry, right?
Doesn't matter, I just, if it's all true what you hear, you guys have your work cut out for you.
We do, but it's been good, we continue to
Right.
engage, and, that's just part of the process.
So some of the questions I'm gonna ask is, when do we work like a road agreement?
Perfect, that was where I was going next. So
Okay,
right
sorry.
now, we've shared our road use agreement with all the townships, shared it with the road supervisor here.
Okay.
I think the collective is, boy, this is a big agreement, and we totally agree. But it's based on experience, working in various jurisdictions of all the things. So if you start with a one-page agreement, you know you're missing something. If you go with a 20-page agreement, there's probably too much. And so we found that, try to find that happy medium. I think what the goal would be is to have a consistent road use agreement, the actual agreement. And then within that jurisdictionally, you have the specific township roads that are applicable, county roads, and that process continues as we go. It's not necessarily necessarily something pre-permitting, but before we are able to start doing any work, that road use agreement needs to be complete, done, and
There's been questions on that, so yeah, I'm glad you.
yeah, absolutely, yeah, and we're trying to take the feedback, we wanna protect the townships and the counties, because we've seen it where it's gone the other way, where there's not enough, and then you end up in this,
And
difficult.
in the chicken and egg thing too, people said, well, do you have a road agreement? The permit comes first, doesn't it?
Yes.
Then the road agreement.
Yeah.
But it's a condition of the permit.
Right, it's part of the permit, so until you have a permit,
Conditional use permit. Is that something to do with it too?
No, it would be just what you would write in the actual, so when you issue the permit, you would just write that the road use agreement is complete.
it could be part of that.
Not a separate. And we're fully committed to doing that. Anything what else? Like as I mentioned, we'll, ahead of filing permits within Wells County, we'll give you a heads up on that and continue.
Be all up there.
Yeah, yeah, but we wanna just make sure before it hits that you guys are aware and that we have that information. But things are going well, continue to talk and take feedback, but it's been quite, a lot quieter.
That's a good thing.
And hopefully for you all also.
Yes.
Would you be operating a lot off of Highway 15 out here, going north,
There should,
Port New Rockford?
yeah, depending.
Is that, or are you gonna come from the south going north?
Yeah, typically, at least conceptually now, and that's what we're.
Or you're gonna come from 281 west?
Yeah, that's the current.
281 west?
Yeah, that's the current thinking. What we're working on the logistics is, are we gonna deliver via rail? And so we may deliver on a rail yard and then truck in from there.
Like the rail, you could make a rail yard in Bremen? Right in
Not
town?
locally, we wouldn't create a new, there'd be an existing, and I'm drawing a blank on the town, but they were delivering there earlier this year.
Yeah, I heard that,
Woodward.
but I can't remember where it was either.
Yeah, and I heard
They
something
said
about
everybody's
around-
going with these big blades while they're going up north there somewhere.
Yeah.
A little ways to the north.
They went further north.
Yes.
But yeah, we heard.
Cause they thought, well, are they for this project? I said, I didn't think so. I mean, it's
They
just
should be
people
showing
that-
up.
Yeah.
You're concerned about getting onto 15, right? From your road.
No, just never mind.
It's gonna cut into fishing time. You
No,
gotta wait for
no,
the blade to go
no.
fast.
Well, he's got a lot of routes to go fishing.
No,
Exactly.
no, it's, I ain't
I
gonna
know
say
where you're
it here.
going. I know where
No,
you're
you
going
don't
with
know
this.
where I'm going with this. No, this is something else. It's just what it, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, but that'll be known and we'll present that. and
Right.
Work that out with the state, the county, and make sure everyone knows the traffic flow. We'll work on traffic control, safety, all of that. Yeah, just wanted to provide an update if you had any questions.
Thank you.
And we're excited, doing our work, and appreciate all the good collaboration. Trying to find.
At least the project didn't get closed down.
Here, here.
Right. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, good to see you all.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Get moving. Everybody agree?
Well, if we can continue to December 26th, that's an easy one.
What is?
They want the day off.
Day off?
Right.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. I just want to let you know there is a Met Tower going up in Valhalla Township. I'm sorry, I misspoke.
Oh.
Just wanted to, Lucas was here reminding me, so just want to let you know that and correct that.
You're not putting one of them towers in Bremen because there's not gonna be no towers, right?
It's not in Bremen.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I don't,
Yep.
it's a different kind of tower.
Yes.
Oh.
Temporary Met Tower. Temporary Met Tower.
Temporary tower, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So we'll wait here, what happened with, the possibilities of Bremen Township?
Question from Dan, what happened with the possibilities of Brennan Township having wind energy facility?
They were too
If
close to
if that's what it
Bremen.
is, just say it.
Yeah, due to the zoning, if you look at the primary residence,
Just wouldn't work.
it wouldn't work.
Okay.
And those individuals didn't agree to any, we used the older term, variance or any.
Understood that they weren't interested.
They weren't. Figured that's the case.
And there are just some one-on-one discussions when they both agreed that it's okay not to have towers.
Thank you.
Alright, December 26th, John's back here. The request is for to give the employees a day off after Christmas, or that's it.
I think little perks like that help morale, so I'll make a motion that we give them 26 off.
Should they work on the 24th?
Yes, so noon. I'll second.
That gets, always long week.
Stan made it. Did he?
He made the motion. Motion made by Stan to give the 26th off, second by Dean. Further discussion by Drew, I think that'd be tough to come back after Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one day in between. Makes sense to me.
Nothing would go on that day anyway.
Wait a minute, boy. We have a strong work ethic in this
Well,
county, so everybody would work diligently after, day after Christmas.
Yeah, right.
So,
So has this got anything to do with, in the summer, we give it on?
Juneteenth.
Yeah, is it the Juneteenth deal, or is it a separate deal?
no, it's because it's so close to Christmas.
Right, I mean, this is
We,
not-
we did utilize that on
Okay, I
the
figured.
third and
Oh,
fourth.
Yeah.
It's the day after July 4th.
We moved that one around, right?
Yep.
Juneteenth, we move around.
It works good
Last
to
year
do
was
that.
4th of July.
And it works good for the employees to do that too. So, any other discussion, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same message, motion carried. Get back to, Doc, I don't wanna beat you zoning guys up, but you were too damn tough, we could have more towers. You need the money.
Don't look at me.
Don't
You're on
even
the
go
zoning
there.
board.
Don't
You
even
too.
go there. Don't even go
Why
there.
not?
Don't even go there.
You guys could have left that happen, well, we'd have probably 3 more towers.
Don't even go there.
No, here's the deal. Bremen Township,
It was too close to town.
Oh, it was town?
Yes.
Oh, that's a
To
big
Brennan?
town.
Yes,
them 4 people.
but still.
That's ridiculous.
Well, that's fine. You think what you want. You voted, I know where you voted,
I
and
certainly do.
I know where you, when you voted, and you voted for the mile setback of the variance, so you ain't got much to say about it.
It is what it is,
That's exactly right.
but we have to, when we look at all this other stuff, guys, we've gotta keep an open mind
Well-
to other things that might be coming along.
You could have voted no, and then you could have your opinion, but
When
you
it was
didn't.
already- when it was already 4-1, it wouldn't have done anything.
No, here's the deal. Bremen would have went on their own. It's a moot point. They were so animally, half of the controversy in this whole deal came from Bremen Township.
Yeah.
The 3 or 4 outspoken individuals from Bremen Township. So they would have went, had their own zoning and did what they wanted to anyway. I don't think, to answer your question, it wouldn't have. I'm passing the buck, but, all right.
I think you're right.
No,
Right?
I guess my point is
And-
though, guys, we gotta find some outside income for this county because look what's gonna be happening.
Well, that's part of the,
I
down
know.
the budget, the long-term planning thing after going to convention, that.
That's what I guess I'm saying, gotta keep an open mind here.
Who else went to listened to the panel that talked about, anyway, it was the mayor of Ellendale. Anybody hear the mayor of Ellendale?
Yeah, I
You
did.
go to that. Oh, Brian was there.
Yep.
Well, I asked him
Which one was
afterwards.
that?
It was the one.
Energy one.
Talked about alternative zoning, more so zoning as to alternative income sources, and it was battery storage centers, solar, wind, different, data centers, okay, and zoning and part of that. So they had the Montreal gal there, the other panels, and the guy from, he's the mayor of Ellendale, okay. No one asked this question because he ran out of time, so I asked him afterwards. He says, and it's still, they're still building, when this is all done, the assessed value of this data center, and there's two things there, will exceed all the farmland in Dickey County. Think of that. And that's not even looking at the 20 homes that are getting built there. I mean, he's considering just
They worth
that
more than
structure.
all the land.
Yeah.
That's gonna employ a bunch of people.
Well, employ people,
Yeah,
and, you know, but that,
The amount of money they're gonna have.
wow, you know, and some of those people, he said that, some of those people will come from South Dakota, some of them will come
Right.
from Lemoore, they're not all gonna live there. But,
Isn't it, Emmons County's getting a $7 million check just to permit for
Yeah.
battery storage.
so that's part of the long-term planning thing, but we need to reach out to maybe some of these countries. Battery storage centers are the newer one, I think data centers now are gonna run their course
What
for
did Emmons County get?
It's a battery storage.
Batteries.
Yeah.
That
But
was
it's
in
gotta be,
Carrington,
but
right?
it's gotta be by a windmill plant and.
No, doesn't necessarily have to.
Doesn't it?
Nope.
Oh.
Right, Brian?
Right, I will say this, one thing that I learned from that seminar, our public service commissioner sure seems to be on board. He was working both sides of the angle. He was talking about, be sure you know what you're doing. He was very diligent in that. And we have to really respect that because that's where this is at, is making sure you know what's going on.
And I said a long time ago, when it comes to this wind farm thing, we're not reinventing the wheel here. After they get the permit here, they have to get a state permit.
Oh, yeah.
And the Public Service Commission, they've been doing this a long time.
But they've gotten, in the last year, they've changed a lot of their tune. I will tell you that. They have.
And how do you mean?
Well, they've become more aware of what's going on, what can happen. Like the lady that is from southwestern North Dakota where the oil is very prevalent. She said, we don't want none of this. We don't even have enough power to run the oil game. So why would we want a data center that's gonna take more power away from us?
Yeah.
And that's what the Public Service Commissioner was saying. Make sure you know what's gonna happen when this comes to your area.
But he also said the Public Service Commission won't allow that to happen
Right.
if the public's gotta pay for increased power, or if it takes from the grid. They're not gonna set something up here so Harvey has
Well, that's what he
the
said.
That's
dark.
what I'm saying is-
But that's the Public Service Commission has a better,
Oh, yeah. I know.
But
They've
in the
been
last
through-
year,
been
they've
through a
changed their
lot of-
mind quite a bit. They've changed their stance quite a
So,
bit.
you know, another thing I've been reading about, y'all are aware of the controversies over the dairy farms on the eastern part of the state. Dairy farms feedlots aren't assessed, as such. There's something about that word.
Yep.
that.
Them dairy farms are damn. Because, I told you guys about 3-some years ago, that a friend of mine in Minnesota, he had the same problem in his area. He called me, he says, make sure your township or your county gets a zoning deal. Because what they did was, there was a rule, you could only have so many cattle per section. So they bought 4 sections and had one little spot in the middle there. And here's what happened to them. He said, we had no idea. But when they started hauling silage, he said that was worse than hauling corn. Because he said silage weighs more. He said that wrecked our road so bad, he said, I don't know if the roads will ever recover. So I mean, there's always those things.
We got rid of the corn farmers, do the same thing.
Right, but I mean, silage is worse per acre.
Yeah.
5 years ago, when Paul Gunderson brought the idea of a data center outside Harvey to the city commission. He said, he was saying, it looks like this is coming in, and this will be big. Then he brought it back to the next meeting to the commissioners, the council members, they
That's what I'm saying, guys, gotta keep an open mind.
Yeah,
Get up
but
there
Paul
and get on
Gunderson
the
mentioned
city
it
council
5 years ago.
instead of, us poor couple
They
guys
don't
here.
have room there, it would have to be in the county area.
I,
But, you know what, on that same token, Brian, that new dairy farm by Carrington, I hear nothing but good about
That one I agree. There's everybody that's gone to do that. But as you get down towards Fargo and stuff, if the regulations aren't there, that's gonna be another.
But what's the legality of, you know, if Brian, if you started milking 200 cows today,
Right?
and had set up a dairy farm, or a dairy parlor and all that stuff, you know what the county would get for taxes on that? Zero.
Nothing, that's the
Nothing.
point,
It's a
yeah.
farm.
Right.
Now, where, I'm sure the Carrington one's commercial, then you can tax it, right?
I don't know,
That was
there's a
commercial.
catch.
I don't know.
That was
Kinda
reading,
that
I
way.
didn't read it close enough, but there was a catch where it's not gonna be a big boom to the county like they thought it was.
But you're right, it should be.
Yeah.
They should be paying taxes
Oh,
on
my.
that.
Well, look at what happened in Towner.
Because it's not-
Nothing left up there anymore.
Well, that's the risk of business.
Right.
Some flourish, some go broke, there's risks.
That one should have flew.
Carrington is whether it's commercial or a farm for taxing. I'll find that
You know,
out.
if it's commercial, then it's taxed.
I know, but I'll
But
find
if it's a
I'll
farm,
find that out. One of my fishing buddies,
Well,
I'll find it out.
Get on that, Bill.
We kind of beat this up, but anybody else, you know, it's a good time to discuss this stuff though, because we're gonna be looking at future things, and it's good to discuss
I know.
this.
I think
Ahead of
Carroll,
time.
Carroll County is expecting a big windfall from the dairy farm that's gonna be along the river, or along the river outside Wingram, but I said Carroll County, but I think the county's expecting a big windfall. in fact.
Well, I gotta believe they're commercial, they're taxed, they're
Yeah,
I
appraised,
gotta
they're
do a little
set.
more research on that, cause the one article I read, it said it was,
A farm
maybe
or
they're giving
commercial?
them incentives to put it in. We did that like with Hamburg elevators. so.
Right.
Okay. Dan, where the heck are we?
Physical education.
Education, so that would be this sheet
Oh, yeah.
right here. So, I told you about this several months ago. You wanna hone in on these two little ones that have a 1 and a 2 above them. Those are the prairie dog buckets. That's where they were. And don't be misled by these two graphs, because the scale is different on the left side versus the right side. So even though they might look bigger on the right side, they're not necessarily bigger. But anyway, those two buckets, which is the prairie dog funds for municipalities, counties, and townships, were made smaller. Okay, there's $70 million taken out of those two buckets, but they were moved up in the rotation. So what you traded here was financial resources, you traded them for the security of, yeah, those buckets are probably going to fill, okay? And if you look at the, on the right side, that first bucket there, which is the state general fund, that's only 2 months worth. They're bringing in somewhere $75–80 million a month in there in terms of what's going into these buckets. So you could argue the price obviously is as low as it's been in quite some time, but that hasn't stopped the production of oil at this particular juncture. So barring some unforeseen drop, it's highly likely that the buckets will certainly fill during the course of the biennium, but I wanted you to be very clear on that. So in the last round, there was $1.2 billion a bucket that had to be filled before it got to the counties, municipalities, and townships. Now that number is down to $855 million. So the likelihood that they will fill, obviously, is there, but remember, those buckets are gonna be smaller. So instead of getting $1.2 million, you're gonna get $800,000. So the payoff is not going to be the same. Some other things of note, and again, this is a big deal, not necessarily for you, but I know one or two of you deal with township stuff as well. For townships to be eligible going forward, they have to A, be at 18 mills, and B, they can't have more than $100,000 in their general fund. So we were at 12 townships that were levying 18 mills. That has jumped now. There will be 23 of our townships that are at 18 mills here this fall when we put out tax statements. So there's still 13 that are automatically ineligible, all right? And they don't care if you're at 17.96. You have to be at 18 or you're disqualified. And then the other part of that, the $100,000 in your general fund, We have a lot of townships that have more than $100,000, but they've created a road fund, for example, which is way around that. It has to be literally a second account, it's an accounting thing, but you can't have more than $100,000. So I had a township reach out to me and I said, well, you gotta do that. Well, we're not gonna do that. I don't know, you won't be eligible. I'm not making the rules, I'm not the one who decided this, but that is what the rules are. Those are the only two stipulations they have.
And you can see why the rules exist. If you have a township out there with a boatload of money and doesn't know where to spend it, why should they get this money? They shouldn't.
Yeah, they shouldn't, right? They probably don't have a bridge for it on.
I think Stark County is in that boat
If you're not willing to help yourself, why would anybody else help you?
No, but there's certain situations, and I'm not gonna pick on them, but Forward Township in Harvey's that way. They have all kinds of money. You got Prairie Towers as an assessed district and a bunch of houses in it. For them to go to 18 mills, they wouldn't know where to spend that money. You know what I mean?
We could find lots of places.
Well,
there. They're not all like us.
and they're way over 100,000 too. They should be spending that down because there's spots to do it. But
Perhaps they could have helped with County Highway 5, I'm just saying.
well,
Okay.
right, I don't.
But the one thing we gotta realize too about this oil business, we're all scared that oil's cheap when we do, you know, and it's not gonna fill things. A lot of those wells, when they get brought in, they get set rate for a barrel of oil, and that never changes. That does not follow the market. You talk to somebody who's got oil wells, and they'll tell you that. When that well comes in at $80 a barrel, every time they pump the barrel out of there, it's $80. So just because oil's dropped, doesn't mean that this isn't gonna fill, because there's still a lot of wells getting pumped at $80 a barrel. That's what a lot of people don't understand.
So, that said, you know, again, on the right-hand side, that's just 2 months, so you can do the math yourself, that give or take $80 million a month. You know, that's almost $1 billion in a year. Biennium is 2 years, so the likelihood of those buckets filling, obviously, is very good, so. Anyway, in addition to that, I do wanna make this point, primary residence credit, which transitioned from $500 last year to $1,600, that's good news, so, you know, it's gonna save typical person here that has your primary residence, if your taxes exceed that amount, it's gonna be an $1,100 advantage to you over last year, okay? The hardship that this could create is for the handful of political subs that might have a shoestring budget. One of them sat before you here earlier this morning. And again, it's possible that everyone with a primary residence, if your taxes were only $1,600 or below, you're not gonna pay any taxes, okay? Even if they're more than that, 1,600 of those dollars will not arrive here from Bismarck until probably in April. That has been standard operating procedure, which means normally when you get a payment in February and in March, that part of the tax base is going to be missing from that payment, okay? So think about all of the political subdivisions. This would affect, you know, anything that's around the Harvey area in particular, just because there's more houses right concentrated right there in that area. That part of your revenue ain't coming until April, or in the case of making payments out to them, July. That might get a little thin for a few folks. Now, I don't think this is gonna have any big impact on townships, okay? But fire districts, ambulance districts, soil conservation, health districts, et cetera, city of Hertzfield, city of Bolton, city of city of Fezman and Harvey, have their rates up pretty good. I would like to think that they have an operating,
They have some
coffers, but I don't know that, they don't report that to me, so, and they don't have to, but that is something, one of those unintended consequences that nobody's really thinking about, but has certainly caught my eye here recently, thinking, your first two payments aren't gonna be what they might normally be. So, and then when you flip the page over, and this is not official, because I've still got some checks and rechecks and double checks that still have to be done, but we have 78 different taxing districts in Wells County. And you can pick out where you are. Obviously, I live in the city of Harvey, so it's easy to find mine. If you live in a township that has multiple taxing districts in it, you gotta look a whole lot closer to make sure you pick out the right one. Depending on your school district, ambulance district, fire district, all of that jazz, but I can more or less, I can tell you, I know right now what my taxes are gonna be. Right to the cent, I know what they'll be. Okay, I haven't generated taxes yet, won't do it for a few weeks, but I already know, based on the information that's here. I got my last, political subs reported to me yesterday, and that was the Maddox School, Maddox Fire, and Maddox Ambulance. So, this is now done. Again, I gotta go in and double check all this stuff, but, what's the highlighted areas on here? The highlighted areas are simply, taxing districts. If you see those middle zeros that are in red on your sheet, they do not belong to a fire district that has the ability to tax. They do receive money from those townships or the city of Hertzfield and the city of Harvey indirectly. The cities pay them, the townships pay them. I met with some of these folks. The ones at the bottom of the sheet are either Harvey Fire or Goodrich Fire or whatever the case may be. I don't know why they do it this way. I can't wrap my head around it, but I did meet with those that are up in the northeastern part of the county, and now we're talking about Cheyenne Fire and so on. They choose to do it this way. I just think that's bizarre, but it's not my decision. So they're color coded for me more than anything else. But I don't know why, again, why they choose to do that. And this could have become a big deal for a township in this particular case. Let's just assume they were financially strapped and they were up against that mill rate. What's their recourse? They have to pay a fire department as part of their township resources.
Right.
That seems insane to me in this climate that we're in right now, but I guess if they're fine with it, that's their prerogative. But that being said, the reason it's so small is obviously we have 78 different taxing districts in this county. So, do you have questions for this? Hearing none, all those things add up to your grand total at the bottom, $48,514,173. That is our taxable valuation. And if you go back up in the top of the sheet, that's the same as the cards that I handed out to you a month or two ago, whenever that was. Our mill rate for Wells County will be 93.18 mills, which is short of the 121 that it certainly could be. So, but if there are no other questions, we will move on.
Very good, thank you. KTL Festival Hall money spending places.
All right, I gave you the item for the roof on this place, and I told you that I had an individual up here to look at tuck pointing. It's very interesting. Every time I go to Festival Hall, there's more of it on the ground. Okay, it's just falling off.
I'm gonna call this weekend too about it.
And, coincidentally, I go out there and there's a fresh pile that wasn't there the day before when I'd been there. And, yeah, so, but obviously, this gets fairly complicated in terms of the dollars that we're talking about. So you have the roof on this building at $97,500, and if you look at the next few pages, there's some detailed stuff. That, I'm gonna come right out and tell you, that means nothing to me. I'm not a roofing contractor, I don't know what any of that stuff is. But I wanna take you through this. The next two that should be in your packet involve both tuck pointing and fixing the foundation around Festival
Okay.
Hall.
Back up. It's a silly question. Tuck pointing?
That's what it's called. That's replacing all of the mortar that's decaying and falling off the building. So, it's their term, it's not mine. But there's two issues here. There is the tuck pointing to address the building as you look at it. And then what's causing that? Two things are causing that. Water, obviously, and the foundation. And the foundation is decaying because of the water. And so the stuff that's on the side of the building, I don't care where you go, whether it's most prevalent on the west side of the building, but not exclusive to that area of the building, because the water comes off the roof and runs right down the wall. It's always wet. Washing it. So, there's gotta be a system of gutters on the building. And I come from Harvey Public Schools. Why is the same thing happening at the elementary school, and where is it happening at the elementary school? It's happening in every place where there are not gutters on the building. And the places that have gutters, no issues. Okay, it'll happen eventually, when the parcels go down. Okay, so these next two, 90,300, that one is for water management, the other one is dealing with the foundation and tuck pointing. So the 90,300 is the tuck pointing part and getting the water off the roof of that building to a place other than to the building's foundation. The other part is for the foundation of the building. But again, these can't all be tackled at once. And then the last one, $76,935, is to do tuck pointing on the courthouse and then clean the exterior of the building and seal it, so that when it is wet, the water doesn't do that kind of damage. This becomes a situation that has to become part of our long-term plan. We can't do all of these things simultaneously, it's just not possible. But at the same time, you can't just let them go either, because if you want to keep the festival hall, if you want to keep the KPO, if you want to keep the courthouse, the last thing you can do is let water infiltrate, because it will not last. So,
Wouldn't you do the 76,001 first?
well, that becomes your priority.
Well,
What's your priority?
the reason I'm saying that is what they're doing there, is they're taking,
That's the courthouse.
no, I'm talking about the second one here, where they're taking 16-inch perimeter around the entire building. That's the 89,000 one.
Yeah.
Would you not do that first, to get that secure, and then finish the rest?
And he wanted, the way he described this, and it's just, of course, assuming that you were gonna do these in the summertime, which is the only time you can do them, is that they would do one of them before the fair and the other one after the fair. And, well, exactly.
Wind farm.
Yeah, right.
Goes back, no,
Don't even go there.
And so, one of the solutions then is putting gutters on the festival hall, correct? This is probably just a really dumb question, but I'm gonna ask it. Being that historical value to the building, I mean, when the festival hall was rebuilt, why wasn't there gutters put on there? And are you gonna get some pushback from the historical side of it, saying that that building didn't originally have gutters and it?
Right.
And that can be the case.
I just wondered.
Yeah.
I don't think without it being addressed, and the building's gonna outlast me, but it's not gonna outlast me by a whole bunch. That foundation is decaying and decaying rapidly, and without a foundation, okay? Do I have any personal ownership in the festival hall? Heck no. I mean, I grew up around here, and that's about the extent of it. But that being said, if you want to protect your investment that you have put into that building, you're gonna need to do this. And if Desmond and Wells County in general and the fair wants that building to exist, it's gonna last forever on its own.
So, it's a job to get on the fair board about the historical.
Well, the thing of it is, what I'm wondering is will the Historical Society require maintenance so it lasts longer?
No.
That's my concern. Will they even, I mean, will there be pushback because it's not original? Just like when the pillars and
Right.
the arch got brought down.
Yeah.
Okay, you could have built a better arch, but you built the exact same one because of
Right.
historical value, okay? So what's gonna happen with the hall because
Did they
of
help,
that?
did they help with?
I don't know, and another
don't help with
question
anything.
is there money through the historical society to help preserve this building?
Right, that's what I'm getting at. I don't know where they stand on that. I don't know if
We've
they
been
have.
down that road before, Doc. They have no
I
money.
think historically, they will give you nothing.
They have suggestions.
But my question is this, is they got money to start with to rebuild it, correct, or not?
Well, a lot of donated money, I do believe.
Okay, so what I'm saying is now that it's got to this point and nobody wants to give money, can we step in and do what's necessary without their blessing?
Historical site.
That was my concern.
Yeah,
Right.
That's what I'm saying, is being, they don't wanna put nothing in the kitty, and we do what's necessary to make it last longer.
Well, their threat would be if you do something that's too modern or out of
I
the
understand.
concept. Well, wait, you
Because,
haven't heard
yeah,
it finished.
Brian's right, you gotta get that checked out first.
You'll lose the status of being an historical site. That's,
Who cares? If you're
well,
gonna let it ride.
but that's
Yeah, I
their
know.
carrot.
It can either remain a historically recognized building, or the building can be history.
Well,
Again,
Yeah.
it's not the day after tomorrow.
I don't think
The
you have to.
mistake was made by making it historic.
When I go out there and find a new pile of mortar laying on the ground,
Every day.
it's a problem.
I don't think.
I mean, it's
we
falling
gotta
right
worry
Oh,
about
it's just falling right off.
We don't have to worry about the historical society. But I think this 90 and 89, you gotta do them at the same time. I'm not saying do them tomorrow, but you can't do one year, like Brian said, and then one 3 years down the road. It should be done together. Right?
There has to be some, it's either gotta be this year and next year, it can't be this year and 4 years from
No,
now.
correct.
No,
Yeah.
it's gotta
They
be
have to be
6
in
months
some
apart.
kind of succession, but it's no different. So what it comes down to at the end of the day is your priority. Number one, is it the courthouse, is it the KTL, is it Festival Hall? What is your number one?
Well,
What's going on with this roof, I mean,
This is that flat roof that's tarred.
It's
right?
not, and it's
Well,
not, it's not flat, but it's the next best
got
thing. to
very
being
little
flat.
pitch on it.
but is it leaking now, I mean, what's the?
In certain places,
You don't
you
wanna
know, the
see-
priority is the courthouse, obviously, but then I can refer the question as, what's more urgent? Which one of these needs to be done sooner than later?
and
This building gets used a lot. I would say this building, wouldn't you guys, or not?
Depends on how urgent.
What would you say, Brent?
Well, I don't have any say, but,
No, but what's
but I
just,
mean, you got 4 days of the fair and maybe 6, 7 events in the festival hall, or 10 events a year in the festival hall. This thing is used every day, 52 weeks out of the year. Not every day, but there's weekends when there's something going on in here, a meeting on Saturday.
there's always something.
I mean, I would think it would be this one, but I don't have any say.
What happened in the basement? We had a problem in the basement, right?
Here,
Yeah, okay, so that was an issue. This roof, if it starts going, let's say there's a storm of some kind and being it's in the condition it's in, if we start coming through there, that ain't gonna be pretty. Because with a building, you got three things. You got your roof, your structure, and the foundation. And any one of those three go haywire, building's gone in the long term. But that roof, you better shed the water.
Tammy, you wanna come in a minute? Just got a message about historic society.
I can hear you talking about the Historical Society, and I've worked with them when I put the security cameras in the courthouse. And the courthouse is on the historical registry, so then they come back with recommendations. Do not drill into the mortar with one of those. So they'll work with you out at Festival Hall, and there are grants up to $150,000 in them to restore.
Sounds like we're looking into it.
Yeah,
we're out there, what do we do to fix?
Well, this isn't on the registry, so that's your.
yeah, it's worth a try.
For the festival.
Doc and I have bitter tastes in our mouths from the historical society's past. However, that doesn't mean things can change. Why don't we try doing, Doc? Or, I don't mean you and me, but we were,
It was that, the trim work and stuff on courthouse, or the other.
And we asked for funding,
And
and
make it look like the old stuff.
it cost extra money to keep it as is, but they had no money for us. But that can
But
change,
there's a grant.
yeah.
I mean, I know they've done some work in some other courthouses and other things, I can tell the list of what they've done in other areas.
Who's gonna do that grant? You?
I could, if you wanted to.
Look into it.
Said done for the
I mean, we gotta try something.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Maybe if you-
Or Festival Hall.
20,000 helps, yeah.
Right.
Well, for the festival hall, there's 180.
And we already have estimates, so you'd have something to go on as to the need,
Yeah.
what's
What's the
happening.
76?
That's a big one.
That's the
Usually it's a
courthouse.
50-50 match,
These two are the,
it's not 100%.
I agree, I think this building growth has first priority, we should do that pretty soon.
that's what I think. This gets used way more than the rest of it.
But if you give me the quote for Festival Hall, I'm sure
If you get a grant for that, it'll be really good.
it's a 50-50 grant.
50-50, yeah. It's still.
Then we'd have to come up with 90,000.
That's better than all of it.
I know, I'm just saying though,
Right.
get the figures in your head.
It's,
There's
it's
90
worth,
and
it's worth checking into.
180,000.
And it wouldn't be till next year because the 2024 grant closed in October, 2012, they closed in October, so we missed the deadline.
Yeah. Well,
So next
would-
spring, we'd have to really,
right, okay.
so we can get done for 2 years.
So the bottom line is, Dan, what can we afford to do without getting into the dire straits?
Nothing.
So there we are.
But all that does is get you further in a hole.
Yeah.
So I'm being sarcastic, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what these gals are gonna come back with next month. I don't know if it's gonna be 400 grand or
You know,
I'm
that,
just gonna have to shoulder.
that's my thing, we gotta kind of wait to take care of business before we
Yeah.
tackle something.
And you know, you can't, it's no different than anything else. You have to deal with the reality of what is in front of you. And the number one thing you can do at this juncture is just protect the assets you have.
Right.
Protect the employees that you are fond of, protect those structures that you have a liking to being able to operate from. You have to do those things. And that's what your choices become. And, you know, there's a lot of people that won't like it, just like they don't like other things, but you know what? They haven't really, they're not charged with figuring this out, coming up with a solution, and if the shoe were on the other foot, they too would be put in a predicament, just like you are.
So how many $5 buckets do you?
Well, my question was along that same line, who established that there's a need to redo the roof? Just because it's old, does it leak, does it,
Well, it's, yeah, we've had water all over the place in here at times, okay? And I know Tammy obviously wants this floor redone in here, but, you know, first things first, you gotta deal with certain other things.
I think that's the first priority in my mind.
But first priority is to take care of business first.
Well, I'm not gonna make a motion for it this month, but I think down the road, right, based on shit to
Well,
sell.
will the health department be taken care, I mean, we'll have something figured out next month.
Well, you're gonna have to make a decision, because they will be out of money before we meet again in January.
In December, we gotta take care of the health.
Well,
Then we can decide if we wanna do one of these, right? Right.
well,
That's where we're at.
and let's not be all doom and gloom, there's aspects of the budget where we save money on. Saving money on because,
The budget won't get used.
well,
We're,
risk of, I'm not saying this is a good thing, but we've been down an employee or two within the county, we save money there. Risk will retire or resign for saving money. I mean, there's little aspects where we save money, so a budget is not
we're getting
In
some interest
concrete.
on money too.
the interest. So I guess I would like to ask Dan for a homework assignment. Give us next month your best guess of ending general fund balance at the end of 25 and how it compares to 24, 23, 22, 21.
Well, and that's part of the long-term planning.
Right, and that's a
feature that
different,
we're
that's a
talking about
different
here.
meeting, I know.
Didn't we kinda get that in our budget, what it was the years before? Remember, you did that, you gave the years before?
But there, you know, you can look at that, and you can sit here and you're in a catch-22. It might be better, but it's worse, because things cost more.
Right.
You know, so yeah, you can sit and wrap yourself in a tightly knit ball here, trying to sort through where you're at, but,
Fair enough.
so.
That's why I came.
Okay, so this is gonna be discussed again next month.
Okay. All right.
Kenny is the resignation from
Bristol.
Tyler, Bristol.
Make a motion to accept the resignation and thank Tyler for his time of service in Wells County and wish him luck in the future.
Motion made by Stan to accept, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Brian Miller, second, discussion on it.
I
Had a
called him
conversation.
and talked to him and had a good conversation, and so
I did too.
I enjoyed being on the ambulance and fire department when I did work with him out in the field, so I thought he did a good job, so.
How long has he been with the county? How long?
He came in early 2024, so about a year and a half.
I had a good talking to him, there's some stuff he's got planned, so. All right, did we vote on that?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Opposed, motion carried. Property foreclosure sales, we have.
Okay, I didn't anticipate anybody would be here, but this is a process like anything else. You have to give them the ability to come in here and suggest to you that you're not asking for enough for that property, because if it gets sold, those that have specials on them, a la the house in Harvey, et cetera, the one in Bowden, they're just gonna have to swallow hard and say, we're never gonna get those dollars, and that's just the way it is. But they're not here, so it's a moot point. So we just move on, and I provided you that list, which I gave you last month, which you did. I honestly think there's only one property that might sell here out of the bunch, but because there are 10 out of the 13 are empty lots, and 2 of the houses are uninhabitable, so. And that's what, unfortunately, you deal with, is people who just get up and walk away from stuff and leave you with the mess to clean up.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but nevertheless, they're not here, so that sale will go forward on Tuesday, the 18th of November at 10 a.m. in my office, and then if the property does not sell, which I anticipate several of them will not sell, you're offering them back to the political sub closest to it, and then they can do as they wish with it. So, if they'll take it.
I was gonna say, and hope they take it.
Well, most of the political subs do have a history of that. City of Pheasant is not amongst them, so, and we're getting one back for sure. Yes. So, anyway,
Two of them, yeah, 10 o'clock.
all right,
Block one.
it's the same owner, but. All right, the next item there is the long-term planning guide, and obviously they don't make something like this for counties. I did reach out and check, so I created this. It is just the beginning of a conversation more than anything else, and obviously, right now, the most compelling page is page 3, which talks to you about your population, which is still in decline, has been for damn near 100 years. So, anyway, talks to you about things like valuation, mill rates, FTEs, and then facilities, and it asks a number of questions about what the future holds, because even on that page 3, we have lost population since the last census was done in 2020. That we continue to lose population, and we'll continue to do so. So I guess what I'm looking for from you is what direction do you want to see this go? What can you add to this process, other than the process itself? What would you like to see as a part of this? I would prefer this not just be about me.
No, I think our homework assignment should be to answer all these questions ahead of time of what we feel is needed, and then, well, are we gonna have a special meeting? Well, we are, right? Just to discuss this.
I think we should all go
Because
through it.
we all have to have some ideas before we get to the meeting, and this is a good template for it. We just can't come to this meeting and say, well, gee, what are we gonna do, guys? I think everybody has to come to the meeting somewhat prepared.
I believe you're right, that's the next step. Everybody should go through this and put their ideas down, and then we need to get together and discuss.
There's a lot of questions here that will take me some time to think about and answer.
I know.
And page 5, you know, Brent mentioned earlier today, 75% of his department is over the age of 60. Most of our employees are 60 or older.
Right. Not just ours. Serious changes, that and that. I mean, 3 years is gonna be changed.
at one time.
3 years will be changed. It's gonna take 5.
I got 3 blade guys that are 4 months apart.
Yeah, that's what I mean. 3 years, it's gonna change a lot.
The only ace in the hole you got is because of health situations, nobody can afford to retire. That's the only ace in the hole you have.
Well, right, you hear that a lot.
Exactly right, so Medicare kicks in.
Well, the other thing is, older people have a pretty good work ethic, because they can't be bored and sit around in retirement and do nothing, so they're gonna keep working.
They're the best workers.
I'm selling the horse to a guy that's 80 years old. He retired, sold his cattle, he got bored, he started making hay, now he wants to do more. 80 years old.
That happens a lot.
He
You know.
just needs a write-up.
When are we gonna do this?
What kind of time frame, yeah?
Well, I wanna have it done by next spring, but you're not gonna get this done in a sitting or even 2, I don't think, but.
Because we're gonna all come with ideas, and then we're gonna change them again, maybe.
Yeah.
You know?
If there's 6 of us, we'll have 8 ideas.
Or 12.
Lots of discussion.
But I think your challenge, right off the bat, you've got the health district and you've got some facility things right here.
Wow.
Need to be done.
And I don't think you can solve a problem without thinking about the ramifications of that. It's no different than when we're talking about, you know, the finances of the road department. That has an impact on everything else Wells County. And so now that the soil conservation district has been closed now for, what, 35 days? Something like that, okay? That's one of your entities. I don't know what's gonna come out on the other end of that in terms of their Fed funding portion of that. It's not gonna change the local collection, but the local collection ain't enough to operate that. We see a concern on the other side of that wall over there with the extension service. They don't have the resources, obviously, to operate the way that they should, could, or would. Our emergency fund, okay, is not able to deal with, you know, the circumstances that they have, or the 911 fund, to be able to pay all of their bills. So, all of that ends up coming back to the general fund. But the general fund and the amount of money that you have tied up in CDs and the money market, right now, you're earning money on that, which is paying for employees to be here and to be gainfully employed. You don't collect enough money to pay your bills the way it is. say, yeah, spend that down, but then where do you get the resources to replace the interest payments that you're getting on that money to be able to, okay, so you do have that.
Yeah, I've got a question.
3,800 people should be proud of you right now. Granted, half of them, two-thirds of them would just as soon you weren't on the commission anymore, but somebody's gotta solve these problems.
And I don't wanna throw a wrench in it, but this is one of the workshops I went to, and these are some of the things that with the new big beautiful bill are gonna affect the counties. Federal cost shares for federal programs are not gonna be in it, and that cost can be passed on to counties. The SNAP and all that stuff, it used to be 50% share cost, is gonna go down to 75% for the counties. The demand for services program is gonna be uncompensated by the federal anymore. Decreased intergovernmental support, such as county grants, human service programs, and things like that, are out. Expected state funding cuts due to tighter budgets. Unpredictable funding for public counties, lands, and so on. 700 rural counties are gonna have budget shortfalls. Additional 10 million people by 2030 are gonna be uninsured. The FEMA, which we found out with the Fesman deal, is canceled with grants that they have. So those are things that are gonna come down the county.
And that's another thing too, by the way, that office door is open. 48% of her salary is subsidized, how long till that goes away?
Right. So, I got a paper this evening last week, it was, actually, the workshop has caused the disaster in rural counties, in rural counties. So,
I have a question when you're done.
no, I think I'm done, I just, Ben wants to look at these.
Okay, let's say this roof is fixed, and we have a figure for that, right? So, if we wait 2 years, how much more will it go up? Now, let me finish. So, is it advantageous to take some of this money that's under interest, pay the project, and save the money that's gonna increase in 2 years? Where, I mean, is there a justification of that? Because you're getting 4%, okay? But 2 years, this project might go up 10%.
Well, that's right, we can't pat ourselves on the back too much by getting this interest money, because all that is keeping up with inflation. So
Right.
when we use that base money, 2 years from now, it'll be 8% more, so the 4% you got in interest just kept pace with inflation.
Right, but I'm just saying, I mean, I'm not saying to dump the whole thing. But I'm saying if there's a certain project that has to happen sooner than later, I mean, that's something you have to decide.
When I mentioned this, I know Dennis was sitting with me, I'm not sure if anybody else was or not, but, so the state capped it at 3%, and I understand the political headwinds that they're dealing with, okay, I get that. But that very same legislature said okay to an increase of 6.8% in the PRS payment for law enforcement.
Yep.
Okay, and the state insurance commissioner told insurance companies that 10% hikes are not unjustified, okay? And he too is an elected official, and he's also telling you that this ain't gonna work.
Keep it at 3.
Okay, but at the same time, those two messages do not, kind of match up here. And, you know, our costs, whether it's for, you know, the only thing that we have that stayed with the rate of inflation is your employee group, your salaries. That's the only thing. The benefits sure as heck didn't. Okay? The cost of equipment, the cost of materials, the cost of maintaining your structures, none of that is capped at 3%, and won't be anytime soon, ever. So, yeah, you've got some real challenges ahead of you. Now, fortunately, you're not starting on the ground floor here. So,
PRP is the next 2 years, no one knows this. Inflation goes to 1%, we're all okay. If it goes to 5, we got real big problems. Real bigger problems than today.
So,
We don't know the future, but
No.
right now it doesn't look good.
talking about, you know, you're talking about Brent doing math on certain roads, okay? The question that's been proposed to me is if we end up going to that kind of a situation and these other roads don't get maintained, where does the money that is allocated for these processes, who ends up with that, and are these townships out of that money? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Well, to my knowledge, and Dan could answer this better, but the only thing that the township has ever, up to this 2025 year, the township has never paid a cent to the county. So, I mean, by us not providing maintenance to, say, 20 miles of every township, it basically takes $2,000 out of our pocket, puts it back in the township's pocket, and they can try to figure out how they're gonna maintain these roads on $2,000.
Right. But you know as well as I do what the fight's gonna be.
I know.
Good stuff, but that's, what we don't spend comes off that 600,000 in the hole.
Right, I understand, but I'm just saying that's one of the things that's that's gonna get brought up. Well, gee, if you're only gonna do certain roads, what about all the money that you're getting to do the other ones? I'm just telling you, that's what's gonna come to that deal.
And that, truthfully, you're talking about the township road miles, those are payments that go to the township.
So that will still
They filter through the
Yeah, so
township,
that'll
but we don't
go
keep
to
any.
the township.
They'll still
Right.
get them, okay?
Yeah, they'll still get them. We don't keep anything
That's
of
good.
that.
So the
And-
way they can use that to hire
Right,
loans.
right.
And just so you guys understand why I'm trying to come up with 12 miles in
Right.
each township, is your townships are 6 by 6. So I'm trying to find
Right.
6 miles of north-south and 6 miles of east-west
Right.
to keep everything connected that we're opening
Like
up.
bus routes, mail
Yes,
routes, stuff like
correct.
that.
And it's not as easy as you think.
No, that would be a neat deal if we could put together.
I'm working on,
Well, like you take Western Township, we got a road just about every mile.
That's the trouble.
You know, I mean, it's unbelievable. You look at you're going, why did they grade this road? How come they had to grade all these roads up? But that's how it went. So what would their alternative be to maintain their road?
well, they would be pulling drags, or, you know, there's a lot of townships that have these pull-behind now blades. I can think of 6 or 7 off the top of my head that have a hydraulic blade they're pulling behind tractors down roads. They're getting in trouble for doing it in some cases.
Yeah.
But, you know, and as far as snow removal, either snow blowers or big push blades on the front of 4-wheel drive tractors.
They had a piece of equipment at the convention. I looked into that. I'm gonna try to be a dealer for that. A road groom.
Yeah.
Road groom.
Road groom. And I don't want to, I stopped in, when you guys leave today, and you see there's a bunch of action going on at the fairground, just so you're aware, because they're replacing a bunch of power poles out there.
Yeah, they were yesterday.
Yeah, and so, and they're also, taking the power away from the building that we're gonna take down, so we can take that down. And a lot of those poles, they test them, and I don't know if they drill into them or what, see if they're rotten from the inside, and there was many poles that needed to be replaced, and all those poles are ours, but Otter Tail is replacing the poles on their dollar. They're not billing the county to replace the poles.
They'll get it back from you later.
Yeah, eventually, but, so you're gonna see power poles down in a lot of areas out there, that's what I wanted to bring you aware up on, so.
So, Dan, can we probably make a little homework and have everybody kind of jot this down for next meeting?
Is that what you want?
Start,
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
don't we want a special meeting just to discuss this, or you want it part of the December meeting? I'm just throwing it out there.
I think we should jot it down, bring it up next next meeting, then.
How long are we gonna discuss this, an hour or 2 hours at the next meeting, or what are you thinking?
We just go over some of these ideas, and then from that point,
Next special meeting.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah, that would work.
I mean, it's up to you guys, but that's what I would say. Anything else?
Yes. Okay, then, as far as the rest of the packet goes, the rest of this is just FYI. First, let's see, we gotta find my spot here. You have the election candidate filing information for 2026, and that handout just like this. Not my job to necessarily bore through it with you, but it is there. Some of you obviously will, a couple of you will be up for re-election next year. So make sure you look at that. Can't do anything before the first of the year anyway, so there's nothing pressing in there for you, but there are some new requirements, and you do need to be aware of those statements of interest, things of that nature, that normally were reserved for state elected officials, school board members, et cetera, now applies to county officials as well. A couple of other things, I have provided for you a meeting calendar for 2026, and again, whether we meet on Tuesday or Thursday, it's based on the month that we're talking about. We never meet the first, second, or third of a month. We'll meet somewhere between the 4th and the 8th. Every once in a while, it doesn't happen frequently, but you might get a curveball with a June or a November date for elections, but that's taken into account here.
It's been working out pretty well this year.
And then their payroll calendar is in there. I like to put that in there. We previously had trouble getting some timesheets in the past. That went away for the longest time, and here I am this month without one, but nevertheless, let them know when you expect to have those things and so on. But and then last but not least, Thursday, November 20th, is a day that we have a number of activities. All of our employees should be here on that particular day. You were asked to be here at the same time as the road department employees. We'll be meeting in the back room back there, and that's open enrollment for benefits and things of that nature. So if you're going to make a change in something, if you're going to add something, that is the time period that you need to do that.
That's at 11 o'clock?
Yeah, you guys come at 11 o'clock. We'll start stuff earlier that day, and there's nothing more disheartening than trying to explain to people that there are deadlines for this stuff, and you have to get stuff done. And it really shouldn't be my or anybody else's job to chase adults around trying to get them to get stuff done that they need to get done. So, also that day, we have our mandatory safety video that we can all watch together, as opposed to Janelle having to track down 37 different people and try and get them to get that done before a deadline that comes for that as well. So we'll take care of everybody and have a good lunch here that day, but lots of stuff going on. And again, I would like you to be here at 11 a.m. that day, and you're out of here by a little bit after, probably about 1:30, give or take.
Are you gonna make them watch the safety review?
Absolutely.
Good. Same video I've seen 20 videos in a row.
That's not, I had to go to bus driver workshop for my 70th time, I think.
I got a call and asked why.
Twice a year. Twice a year?
No, we have once a year. I don't know what to do.
Two things, goes to show how long Doc been driving a bus, and it also shows how darn old he is.
He started his first bus route when he was 11.
I know, he's 11.
There was a guy that went around and troubleshot equipment, like turning leads. And every time he got to them places, even was the second day, he had to go through a 2-hour safety movie before he could walk in the place, even if he was there 2 days in a row. So they get pretty deep in.
Yeah, you can have that.
And then the rest of the stuff is just FYI there, and there still is no date set for our 6 county because the traditional date corresponds with the date that they have the commissioners deal in Bismarck.
Oh,
Oh,
That's the 9th, right?
how soon do we have to roll?
Whatever that Tuesday is, I don't know.
But that was the 9th.
of December?
I can't,
The 1st of December is on a Monday, so yeah, the 9th would be a Tuesday. So I know we won't have 6 county then, but that's when that commissioners at the Capitol Day is the 9th.
yeah, for commission.
Dan, how's corn harvest going?
Really slow. Well, we're going, I should
well,
say
what
that.
Yeah.
That's the biggest issue.
20?
Well, we got a different variety last night now, so it's better, but 18 and a half, 19,
Be better if it was 16.
yeah. Airbend is 17, if we get it under 17,
So is it the ground that's wet or the corn that's wet?
no, the farm's wet. We are out west where we have no issues with ground. Put the truck in the field even.
Not here.
You farm a bunch of sandy stuff in southern Sheridan County, why,
Yeah.
that's never an issue. No, this is McHenry. No, that way we've been pretty fortunate, just where it's at now. We got some other stuff wetter, but where we're at now,
Southern Sheridan County doesn't have anything.
I was gonna say,
Well-
northern Sheridan County.
Who started by that?
I'm going to a crop
It's not
insurance
mine,
meeting.
I gotta go.
I'm going to a crop insurance meeting.
You guys are leaving?
Brian's leaving too.
Is he?
He's got to go.
You going to dinner?
Nobody else.
I'll buy dinner today if you're going. I gotta wait for somebody. to
Everybody
move.
just canceled their appointments.
Well,
No,
once
I
one
wanna
more
go to the crop
semi-loaded
insurance.
corn, I'll go to dinner, right, Stan?
Yeah, I know.
You gonna go?
See you later.
We done?
My ears will be burning, but that's,
You're not coming? How come? Well, you gotta go fishing?
no, they got a crop insurance meeting at noon.
Where?
We'll see you guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna go, I wanna,
Thank you.
he called me and wanted me to. I want Brian to go too, but I guess he'll be all right.
Did you guys adjourn?
There's a little new stuff.
Did you guys remember to adjourn?
I didn't hear him adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Man, I'll wait dinner for a wolf.
Nope, they're staying in session. That's for the next month.
Good move.
Yeah, take care of the fence.
Mule tomorrow.
Where's that?
Mule, South Dakota. Way down yonder. Corey's taking a little lambs down. Gotta sort sheep this afternoon, too.
I think it starts before that. I didn't figure we'd be done till noon. We're pretty good.
Yeah.
We got our adjourn to all this.
We will see you up, we're talking the one uptown here, right? Yep. I'll see you up here, I gotta go take one thing out.